think that would be the one I would trust. Honestly, like it seems like Streamlabs has got all these different.
I've never
things
had the
going on
issue
with them.
before, and it's like it just suddenly became an issue, and I don't know why. Oh well.
Garrett Bland's in the chat already.
Oh, what's up, Mr. Bland? The blandest of explosions.
It's good to see him there. He was hanging out with Jace. Jace was streaming yesterday with Final Fantasy 14.
Oh,
It's amazing you guys get along so well, you and Garrett.
Well, Garrett's a sweet dude.
Of course he is.
How could anybody not get along with Garrett?
Well, it's just that he's into, the weirdness that you don't really jive with.
Right, but he takes it. No, we have overlap. It's like usually like the scantily clad waifu overlap, but there is an overlap there.
Open your mind, Donnie. It's okay. It's okay. We're not judging. It's
But,
a fun space over here.
Garrett is good people because I can not like what Garrett likes, and he doesn't take it personally, and vice versa.
He really doesn't.
I mean, that's the thing. Some people do, right? Like to hate Final Fantasy is a slam on my personality and my own identity. Garrett's not that way. He's like, hey, you don't like Final Fantasy? That's cool. I'm waiting for the day he's like, I don't like No More Heroes.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we kind of all have at least one of those games or franchises that we're like, I get it. Like,
yeah,
this is for me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy is pretty popular.
I've always, at this point, it's just a part of the shtick. At this point, I don't even want to.
Oh yeah.
I don't even want to play a Final Fantasy for fear that I would like it.
You might like it. Yeah, exactly. That was Animal Crossing for me. I went like almost a year just like slamming this thing, talking about how it's anti-consumer and all this stuff, and then things happen, and I played it. I'm like,
it still is, and you played it anyway.
Well, I mean, ultimately, at its core, the problems with it ultimately took over because I didn't play it I never really got addicted to it like a lot of people did. And all that stuff. Donnie, I don't know if I sound weird to you, but I sound weird to me. I've got new headphones, and so I hear myself
your
differently.
Headphones.
I do, but they looked gigantic on like the side of my head. I felt like I was a little self-conscious about the fact that they were
must be
huge.
Or I'm just very unobservant because I can tell you, had you not mentioned anything, I wouldn't
Looks
have
the same.
Wouldn't have known at all.
Exactly.
That's like
Well, I
my
got the
wife
deal.
after being there all weekend long. She's like, you haven't said anything about my hair. It's like, did you do something?
I'm not mad he didn't. I'm not mad he didn't notice. Chelsea doesn't notice my haircuts. She says I get my haircut too often, which may be true.
I think that's
non-COVID
probably true.
years.
Yeah. I've only seen you with like Shaggy like one time. I remember that one time your hair was pretty long.
Yeah, it was
might
pretty
have
gross.
been like early COVID. I don't even remember, but I remember
It
one time
actually
on
happened
stream.
twice in COVID.
It was like, man, Sean's letting it go.
Oh man, it was like on stream.
You're always so like kind of prim and cut.
I try to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I as much as I would really like to just let the hair down, because I had long hair in high school, and it's such a stereotypical like aging dad move, just like, if I could only just like get back to my golden years, that would feel really great. And you try it, and it's just like, it sucks. It doesn't look good. It doesn't grow nearly as fast. Like when I was 18 years old, like the hair just like it just flowed,
I usually cut my hair 2 or 3 times a year. I cut it.
Is that it? Yeah.
Really, really short, and I just let it grow until I can't stand it anymore, and then I cut it really, really short again.
Well, I was really like, you scared the bejesus out of me with at the start of COVID. You're like, you're not seeing anybody. Like, stay away. Like, you don't want to get down to this thing.
Don't go to the hairdressers.
I didn't. I really didn't. I didn't go.
There.
I got no massages or anything. And eventually, I kind of had to. And I was always glad that I did. So, but now, got my second shot. Things are mostly back to normal. I'm gonna try and keep myself at least somewhat looking presentable at the very least. I fit in this shirt now. I've had this shirt that I've had for a long time. This is actually kind of good. My buttons aren't like popping and stuff.
Yeah.
Went and played Pokemon Go with the kids a lot this weekend.
Oh.
It's kind of the best thing ever, gotta say. Like they love, like they call it changing the Pokemon. They want to change it to something else.
Yeah.
And that's just like capture their imagination, dude. And I'm here for it. I kind of like it. Mm-hmm. We're playing lots of games together. Between Pokemon Go and Zelda, I feel like I've still got a really sweet deal with this. Like Chelsea's actually like doing things with the kids, and I'm like, I'll play games, no problem.
I'll be the fun dad.
Like that's the dad job.
That's
yeah, it's sort of
role.
like I feel like it's almost like if like when parents are divorced and the dad, like when you go to dad's house, he wants to show you a really good time, but like we're in the same household.
Sure.
It's just they get different days with me and with Chelsea. Actual meals instead of what they get with me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Reheated whatever Chelsea made.
Sure.
Yeah. Somehow that's what, even for breakfast, they had like reheated pancakes. Nailed it, dude. Just dad of the year over here.
And it's better than me.
But I like these headphones, man. Like this, they're not even like gaming headphones. They're like there's these Sony noise cancellation ones. They were
Sony?
$120 off. Sony.
How
I
dare
know.
you, Sean?
I know. I should. Like this is. Damn it! You always get me with this. One of my favorite laptops was a Sony. Like I miss the Vio, so much, dude. Oh,
I hear that a lot.
So
a lot
nice.
of people. I just bought a laptop, Sean.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to talk
A
about
Steam
it, but
Deck?
you said laptop. My Steam Deck is now in questionable territory.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. My Chromebook exploded. Like it just died. I have no
Just
idea
explode-
why. I took it apart. I got dev on the case. Like I have no idea what happened. It was working, and then I woke up and it just won't turn on, and it won't turn on. I took the battery out. Like I can't overwrite it. Just
Right.
something happened. I have no idea. It was a refurb.
Yeah.
So I need a laptop, especially like when we go back to work. Like I could always get a work laptop, but the problem is that they install all the county security stuff, and I never want to use those. So I've
for
always
sure.
just bought my own laptop. I'm like, look, I'll just buy my own. So I need a laptop, and it felt like a waste of money to invest into another Chromebook.
Yeah.
For like, because I always got like really nice Chromebooks that are like $500-$600.
Oh,
for
you get a good laptop
for
that
a
amount.
little bit more, I can buy a good one. So I got a really, really great gaming laptop.
Oh, did you?
But now I'm like, do I use a Steam Deck? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have both, because my gaming laptop's gonna probably run circles around it.
Yeah.
So it's
Do you think? What did you get? What did you get?
Garrett, what's it called?
Shout out to while he's answering. Shout out to Garrett Bland in the chat. Skinny Matt, Dano's here. Hobie 1K. Everybody's here. Ryan
It's got
Turford
some
is
weird
here.
name. It's like the Zephyrus 14 or something.
Like what
that.
brand is it?
Asus.
Like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Asus G14, and it's got some weird name, like some weird label name, like Zephyrus.
What size
or
of screen did you go with?
Zephyr. It's 14-inch.
Did you really? Good for. I don't think that I've ever seen a gaming laptop that small. That's
do
awesome. I always see
believe-
them gigantic.
I do believe that most of I watched a lot of YouTube videos and stuff prepping to buy one, and spent more than I wanted to, and I did not want. I'm not like super excited about it because I didn't want to have this expense right now.
Right.
But most of the people, the reason that I did buy it is the profile is extremely small. I believe it's under like an inch and a half. It looks like
Oh,
a
yeah.
Chromebook. Like it's very thin. It's like an Ultrabook, and it is just packed. 16
Yeah.
gigs of RAM. It's got a 3060 or a 3070 in it. I mean, it is ready to go. I've got the Ryzen 9, which apparently is
Oh
awesome.
my god.
I don't know.
Dude.
That's what
You can
Dev
get rid of your
loves the
PC.
Ryzen. That's what Dev said. He's like, it's better than your tower.
It really and just get a good dock. Like
know
a
what
good
I'm excited
docking
about it?
station.
It's got this lid that you can put like GIFs and script in, and it like lights up in like LEDs and like pans across the lid.
I need to see that.
That's what
the
I'm more
heck?
excited about. I'm more excited
Oh
about
my
that than the actual
gosh.
thing. But yeah, it really dawned on me yesterday because I keep watching all these videos and everybody's like, it's amazing. It's got a 144 hertz screen. It is
Wow.
1080p.
Sure.
But it'll do everything. It'll basically run everything at like ultra max settings at 1080. And
Yeah, 14 inches though.
yeah.
You don't need much more than that.
everybody's like, that's what she said. Everybody has been keep telling me like everybody's like, I love it. It's a great place to play games, and I'm like, well, this really kind of screws the pooch on the Steam Deck.
Well, especially I was gonna say because I always see these things just gigantic. Even the 15, like there's such a difference.
I know
Between
what you're
14
talking
and
about, like
15.
those ROG
They're just
Alienware. I
What
would
are you
never,
doing
I would
with
never
that
have
thing?
one of those.
40 pounds, like just
I
huge.
can't pull one of those out at work,
Right, right.
like without looking like a complete, outlier. Like I cannot do that at work. That wouldn't go over very well. But this one, it's white. It's very sleek. It's very minimal,
Ooh.
except for the LEDs on the top, which you can turn on and off if you want.
Sure. Yeah. That's basically what I did like last year. Last year I treated myself like last summer. Or it might have been the year before that actually. I feel like I've had this laptop for 2 years. Yeah, because COVID was last year. And went for total like the slimmest, lightest laptop I could find. Like this, it was a 14-inch. I think it's an MSI. And honestly, it's my podcasting laptop.
Nice.
It's like because I wanted something small to go in the driver's seat
Sure.
for the Xbox Drive. And it was a
Well, I've had
huge,
Chromebooks
huge deal.
forever, like before they were even Ultrabooks, because of that. I love the slim, minimal aluminum Like
Yep.
that's the only thing I'll ever use now. Like it's like
Yep.
it's got to be that. I'll never even look at those giant laptops. It's always been that way
Hmm.
for me.
I
But
used to. I used to didn't even consider even laptops with like the 10 key on it as well. That used to be a
hmm
big deal for me to have that. I thought like I couldn't live without it. And then this one doesn't have it, and I can totally live without it.
yeah,
It makes me even think about like my main keyboard.
those are what keyboards are for. As I say, like yeah, you just get a keyboard if you want to do that.
Right. And I mean like really
They
like one
even
of
make
my
number pads, I believe. You can just buy like
that's kind of what I'm
literally
thinking.
just the number
If I
pad.
really need it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are for like when you're in accounting school, like your first day. They're like, here are the things you need. You get the little number
Yeah.
pad. My
Yeah.
brother's got one of those.
So I thought about replacing the power supply and or the battery, but it's like $100, and I don't even know if that's going to fix it.
Nah.
And I could get another Chromebook, but like I said, it's my Chromebook that I had $600, and they're still like in super high demand. So I was like, well, let's go a little further. The one that I
Yeah.
got at Best Buy was like 1,500, but
Yeah.
I got an eBay seller who had like 6 of them, and I got mine for 1050.
Good for you. I was going to ask you if you got like a because now it's about the time where back to school happens,
Yeah.
and even though it's a gaming laptop,
He had
like
6
laptops,
of them.
computers.
They're new in the box. He took one. I presume that mine is the one that he took one out to take pictures. So he's like, I got 6 of them. They're all brand new. He's like, I took one out to
Wow.
take photos.
Yeah.
And he had the last one, and he had listed for like 1,250, and I offered him 10. I offered him 1,000. I was like, I'll give you 1,000. He was like 1,050, and I was like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saving
Pretty good at that point.
$400 off of list price.
Yeah. Daniel says it's a really good laptop.
Thank you. I don't know. I'll let you know when I get it. I have no idea. I saw people like there are all these apparently in the gaming laptop world, like every time you go to a review, like the Linus and stuff like that, there are all these graphs of all these benchmarks and they put all these models next to each other and all these lines. I have no idea what it is they're actually measuring. It's like performance loops and stuff. Like, what the hell is this? What are you talking
Sure.
about? You
Yeah.
know, and it's like the only one that I understand is like they'll do like usually they'll do one like frames per second.
Yeah, they'll pick a couple games and
Yeah.
it's standard across. Yeah.
But like the other ones, they're like, we ran the Lotus 8000 benchmark test, and this thing will do 84,000 teraflop operations per second. Like, what the hell is that? What does that mean? What are you talking
I don't
about?
know, but it's good. And if it's better or worse than
Right,
the other
it's
one,
like,
that's what you care about.
what does that do? Like, does that mean that
Yeah.
Excel's faster? Like, what is actually happening? What is this
Exactly.
representative of? So that's where my game techness like really kind of stops. Like
That's
more
okay,
of
though.
I'm a brass tacks kind of guy. Like a meat and
Well, you're a
potatoes
little,
kinda
you're a
guy.
little, you're somewhere in between brass tacks and that. You know, it's somewhere in between, just like not really knowing anything.
Just
You,
let me. Is
you
it
know,
good and strong. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, are you going to game on it? Like you can.
So I guess that's the real test because I had a gaming laptop before that I downgraded to get back to my Chromebook, and I did play games on it. I didn't play
Yeah.
a lot of them.
yeah,
So the question is really now, like that'll be the test. I think that'll be determined whether or not I get the Steam Deck. Like with
Yeah.
this one, because here's the thing: a part of the Steam Deck hype was like I wanted to do all of the emulation machines and all the things. I've
Right.
never put that on my actual computer because I don't want ROMs or viruses or anything like that. So the idea of having a dedicated device for that was good.
yeah.
So what I am going to do is I picked up an external SSD and I'm going to put all that stuff on it. And I
Yeah.
can just plug it into my computer and play. If I like it and I do play there, then yeah, I think I'll game on it. At least I'll do my third parties and indie stuff. I'll start doing some more of that on there. You know, not stuff that's like brand new coming out. Like if there's something I really want to play, I'm gonna get on Xbox, put it on my TV.
Sure.
But I'll take advantage of deals, things like that on the.
That's what I need to pay more attention to, like what Epic is doing. I feel like they've never stopped giving away
They
free
haven't.
games, and
They
I
give
just
away 2 or 3 a week. They
I haven't
forever.
even looked.
Yeah.
I don't know why I actually took it off of my taskbar. Normally, I'm going to put it back.
Most
It's
of
going
them
back.
I don't. Yeah, most of them I don't even claim because I'm not even all that excited for them. But
Yeah, there is something to be said about keeping like a clean digital library. You know,
Yeah.
I used to get absolutely everything, and every once in a while this still comes back to bite me a little bit. But yeah, I don't typically get every games with gold now, and I miss a few, like, especially because I'm just not on my PlayStation very much these days. Like I miss a couple of those every once in a while.
yeah, yep. No, I definitely get.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett opened me up to like GMG Green Band Gaming. I've bought a lot of Steam codes in the last couple weeks with
Ooh.
those. I've even bought games I already own, Sean. I got Grand Theft Auto 5
Yeah.
and Horizon and stuff.
bought
It's like,
that
I already
too.
own these, but it's like I want it again. And you know, like Dev keeps trying to tell me, he's like, man, you get GTA on Steam. He's like, you turn up all the settings and everything. He's like, you already have the next gen remaster. He's like, it'll be
Right.
good or better than what they'll release, which I guess we'll put to work. It gave him 15. But I'm actually excited about Dying Light. I bought Dying Light for $15
On PC, did you
on
really?
PC, and like on PC it runs significantly better on console.
Man,
Like I can
here I am.
really turn it up, and I'm like, I might replay that game.
I love talking to you about this stuff though. It's just like we just gorge. At least just the idea of it is almost as satisfying as actually playing the game. That's
Yeah.
the whole like reason we all podcast about
Yeah.
this stuff. Is talking about the stuff is almost as fun, if not more, than actually playing them. It's because I don't know. You got me in the middle of this when after what was it? Just after E3. And like all the sales were going on. Remember, I was like, I got my Vita out,
Oh
I got my
yeah,
3DS out.
you were really going.
I was in it, and that's where I like that's a scary place that I know my brain can get to on pretty much everything. On like, oh, if I'm in a reading mood, I'm gonna be buying all these books on Kindle. If I'm in a playing games mood, I'm gonna be buying all the
Just
games,
kinda
and I don't
binge.
really think about. Yeah,
But
I
if
don't
it's
know
not
what
like super expensive, then I don't think you're not hurting anybody. I love collecting games. I really do.
Same. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, especially now with just the hardware kind of grows, or the games grow with the hardware. That's kind of it. Actually feels even better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where I'll go back and buy some like games from the 90s, which I'll play once and go, okay, that's my fill. Like it's not really like I bought like Unreal or Quake or things like that I have on my Steam library here.
Dano
And I'll never
shouts out
play
Dead
through
Space.
all of it.
I bought all the Dead Spaces after they did the remaster.
Did you really?
I did.
On which?
I
Because I have them on.
I bought them on Steam.
Xbox.
I
I heard that
definitely.
the PC wasn't that good though.
Oh, is it? I have no idea.
I don't know.
They were super cheap. They were like $5. I want to
Dano in the
replay
chat
them.
says Dead Space 2 on PC on high quality settings looks and feels like a fresh game. So I
There
mean,
you go.
and that game is great.
Yeah, I want to replay them before the remaster comes out.
So many things.
Yeah.
Are you gonna finish? You said you weren't gonna finish Skyward Sword. Are you gonna do it?
Probably not. I beat Death's Door this week.
I was gonna ask you. I picked it up. Well,
And
actually, we got a code for it. So I'm sorry, Ryan. I snagged that one without even telling him that
It's a solid.
we got it. I'm like, I'm
solid
just gonna, for the record, and just so that we're clear on everything, I ship 99% of the
cares?
stuff over to Ryan.
doesn't
I just
matter.
want. I don't want to seem selfish on it.
You
but
gotta be so
this,
grateful.
This one I
Like,
snagged.
so get out of here. That's ridiculous.
This one I snagged. Well, and it's also gonna be. I'm sure it'll be on Game Pass.
So
at
I
some
started.
point.
I went back to Skyward Sword, and I mean everything I said about it just still rings true. So I'm now in that thing where I could keep playing it. I'm probably going to drop it almost certainly to play the Mr. X DLC for Streets of Rage. I don't even know if it's out on Switch yet. Like it's been delayed so much.
Right.
Like I keep checking in every other week.
Yeah.
But I got to get to that. The Ascent is dropping.
Ooh,
and
this week, dude. This week is killer.
time spent with Skyward Sword just feels like time I could be playing Wind Waker or Breath of the Wild anyway. So I think I'm gonna, because I started Breath of the
interesting.
Wild a couple weeks ago, just
you?
because I've been putting off on it for so long because I wanted to replay it, and and I started it a couple weeks ago and I put it off for Skyward Sword, but now that Skyward Sword's here, it's like I'd almost probably rather play that than this anyway.
Isn't it kind of nuts that it's just like that was the last Zelda game before like 3D, I guess? Like they went from Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild. Like, does it feel just insane?
Well, yeah, the remasters, but I know what you mean. But the remasters were in there, and the remasters are really, really good.
Yeah, but it just feels like
I
it's
think
just
for a lot
totally
of people,
different
that was
feeling
the
game.
first time that they got onto Wind Waker. Twilight Princess,
Yeah.
I don't feel like was like that, but Wind Waker, I think for many people, Wind Waker on Wii U was a brand new 3D Zelda game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For people. I just wish I had inverted controls. I can't play it. I have it, and I can't
This is
play. I can't
absurd.
experience this thing.
Get off of this.
It's
Just
not a
play
choice.
The other way. It is a choice.
It's not.
What? You have no sympathy for me here.
That's got to be a shirt.
So yeah, I stopped
something, or
playing
a
Skyward
flag.
Sword for Death's Door, which is amazing, and yeah. So now I booted up Skyward Sword, and I'm in the sand area, and I was just like,
Yeah. Everything is electrified.
I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad. I don't want anybody to take it bad. I've just never liked Skyward Sword, to be honest with you. Like, it's not that I don't like it. I don't think it's bad. It's just my least favorite. You know, like it's like a 6 or 7. It's like, man, but I could play a lot of 8s or 9s or something. Like they're just other games that I like playing more. And ultimately, it's just that combat. The combat really dampens the effect for me. Everything else is great. The story is great. The music's great. The visuals are great. Everything's great. I love Skyward Sword. But man, I just don't want to. I don't want to keep doing that for another 20 hours. You know, it's like I'm good.
I must have been really, and I don't know if I had my time clock just like messed up on my Wii playthrough, but I thought that I spent like 70 hours, and I'm feeling like I'm just an idiot when it comes to Zelda on most days. And part of the reason I think that I'm enjoying it this time around is because I'm like cutting through these puzzles, and I'm feeling like a real smarty pants. Like it's making me feel smart, and it's like, okay, it's sort of like a girl that maybe you wouldn't date, but like she compliments you real nice. You're like, all right, I'll keep you around.
Like your analogy.
Kinda,
I
yeah.
don't want to ruin it for you, but Skyward Sword's puzzles are they're pretty decent. I mean,
I know.
they're pretty basic
not-
at that point. They're not
I know they are.
they're not that great in the terms
know.
of Zelda puzzles.
But I'm all like, I'm like, I did it. I'm a freaking master.
The Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild, I think, bring a lot more than most of the temples in Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah.
Although, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like I like the dungeons. The dungeons are cool, and the fact you've got a lot of them, but the puzzles are pretty basic.
Yeah. I mean, it's 10 years old is part of the other thing. And I don't even know if it felt contemporary when it was out, honestly. Like with
Yeah, it definitely kind of
Zelda just always kind of feels clunky. Yeah. I get knocked over by these damn like crabs in their shells, and then I just sink in
Sure.
quicksand.
Yeah.
But shout out to quicksand. They brought it back. We thought we were done with quicksand, but it's all over the place in this
Uncharted said, "Hold
this
my
world.
beer." Think about playing Uncharted. I was listening to PSXP to shout out one of our things. They're talking about
yeah.
Uncharted today, and I was like, man, it's been a minute since I replayed Uncharted. Such a good series.
Well, what did they say? I didn't listen. What did it like? Were they celebrating, or were they just kind
They
of?
were talking about Tomb Raider got a patch, and they were just talking about like what other PlayStation games would you like to get a patch, and
Nice.
one of them said Uncharted, and I was like, I might just replay Uncharted just as is. I don't need a patch.
I'm unapologetic with my love for Uncharted because
yeah.
I feel like lately it's been like, I don't know what happened. Like people really got on the Nathan Drake is just a murderer. And it's just like,
Well, that's true.
who
They're not
cares?
wrong, but I
of
still
course
love
he
it.
is, but it's not to me,
Still
it's not a
love it.
detractor at all.
They do go. It's
Like,
just that Naughty Dog formula, especially with Uncharted,
Sure.
where it really
See, you're
shines
doing it right
through.
now.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no,
just,
I
it's fair.
still have a high
It's
love
not-
for that game.
I guess it is criticism. Because I was gonna say it's not criticism, but that's not true. It is criticism. But like I definitely remember feeling that way in Uncharted 4. There are times in the back third of Uncharted 4 where the amount of enemies that just keeps rushing, you're just like, come on, like that's a real thing.
Where's like the cloning machine that they've got in here,
Yeah,
pumping out henchmen and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I absolutely love the game and love the story and the characters. Some of the best writing in video games. So.
That's one of my, and I have a few, I'm sure. That's an example for me of a game that I love so much that I will overlook that absolutely clear and obvious issue with it. And there's a couple games like that, but
Everybody
I think
has
that might be
those.
more surprising for
100%.
some people to hear. Yeah. I have a lot of special memories with Uncharted, and it's still, I feel like it still holds up. I haven't played it very, very recently, like not like last
I
week or
played
anything.
4 again, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
What's your order? What's the best one? Like, are you 2 first?
Oh, I have the
Oh yeah, no, you're going to go 3 on me, aren't you?
no. I have I think the definite like non. I have the opinion that most folks I feel like don't have. I think the newest ones, I think they just got better and better.
So
And
do
they're-
I.
they're-
Oh, you just go all the way. Yeah.
yeah, they're
4,
just
3, 2,
in
1.
that order. I think the
Gotcha.
first one is the worst, the second one after
Yeah.
that, and the third one and the fourth. And
Interesting.
That's yeah. So if I had to recommend one, I mean, obviously it's hard to understand 4 without playing the others, but I think
Sure.
4 is the best in the series, and then it
I agree.
goes down.
I
down from
completely agree with you. Yeah. 2, I just can't put 3 over 2, but otherwise we're exactly the same.
And I think
Like,
people's
one ends up-
nostalgia and the reasons that they bought it and when they bought it, and like I think a lot of that plays into that, which is fair. I feel like
Yeah.
I bring a lot of that like with Zelda or Pokemon games myself. But I also think, and I've said this a bunch, like sequels should be better, and the newest game
Yeah.
should be better. And if it's the newest game isn't better, then they're probably not doing something right. Like,
That always struck me. Like, and I'll talk to people who are, and Mo is probably like this too. Coach Mo is probably like this, where you'll talk to people who go, like, NHL 12 is the best one, or whatever it is. And it's like, why isn't 13 better? Like, why isn't, whatever the last one is the best
think
one? It always,
with
especially
those,
in
it's
that
probably
area.
mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they'll change.
Well, they just take something a little bit too far. And the thing that the common kind of, I guess, criticism is that they don't change much year over year. But the people who play those games, they will absolutely have a favorite, like Tiger Woods 11, like or 09 or whatever the hell.
Low World Legend, man, calling me out on my Switch stuff.
Notice you.
You're not totally down on Nintendo games lately, but you haven't been impressed. What was the last Nintendo game that really caught your attention? I'd have to look at my Switch to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, then maybe they're onto something.
I mean, I've had to wear that crown on Switch. And I can feel like the Debbie Downer at times. It's not intentional. It's just how I feel. Not doing
Yeah.
it. I'm not doing it to like play a character. It's just
Of course.
a lot of Switch, like Mario Golf, huge miss. And
Yeah, and that's definitely not a you thing.
Skyward Sword's not a huge miss. I've said a lot of nice things about Skyward Sword. So I mean, like Skyward Sword caught my attention. But like this year,
This is just Nintendo, though.
this
You look
year
at these
hasn't-
lineups,
This year hasn't. They haven't done a whole lot this year for me.
right? Yeah.
I think somebody was asking us like Game of the Year stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I have one for Switch yet. I don't even know if
Yeah.
I'd even have one in consideration. I wouldn't even bring up an option. like
Monster Hunter Stories. Come on, man.
not for me.
I regret not getting it on PC, to be honest with you.
Oh, I'm
I honestly,
sure you
I don't
do.
think I even realized that it was. And yeah, I'm definitely seeing exactly what you talked about. It's even more so in the second village or whatever. I'm still going to play it. Like it's on my, we'll get talking about my bus rides to work and whatever. But I'm happy to have it on the go.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Hey,
just
games don't always boil down to graphics. I had some of that last week.
Right.
Some folks on
Oh,
Twitter.
yeah.
They were giving me that. I was like, well, games don't always boil down. So it's not about graphics. Like my
Right.
If anybody heard my reviews on Mario Golf, my review on Mario Golf really had nothing to do with performance or graphics.
right.
It had everything to do with
definitely.
mechanics, and so are the Skyward Sword, almost the exact same.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to boil down to that. But for Monster Hunter Stories specifically, the performance is
It can get in the
a
way.
struggle,
Yeah.
something you're gonna have to overlook.
I wouldn't argue with somebody who said that. It's like it's undeniable. Like
Yeah,
it's really
blatant.
Yeah. It's definitely a thing.
It's like
Well, can I
Calamity.
ask you-
Like Calamity performed terribly, and I mean, I still played it and beat it.
Well, in that game, that's the game. You
Yeah.
know, like you need like for Monster Hunter Stories, it's fine. Like it's
turn-based.
You can still get through it, but it can actually be tough on your eyes a little bit. But for Calamity, it's like you need that to be at least locked at 30, but you'd probably prefer it at 60.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Can I ask you what have you got your round in on Lunch Club for Mario Golf on 3DS
Not
this
yet.
week? Ooh,
I was waiting a little bit.
it's hard. This
Bowser
nine
course.
holes, nine holes is challenging. Like you don't have a whole lot of time to make up for
So
stuff.
what happened last time was I created the tournament, I posted the code, I played in my round immediately, and I just left it there. And I was
Yep.
pretty happy with my round. But I was
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, I should have maybe played like a practice round or two. So I think I might do that. I think I might just
Yeah.
set aside like some time like next weekend and just play, like just a single player round, just to kind of
Yeah.
get my timing down a little bit and then post my round.
Yeah.
But I've always hung true. Everybody that's done this for a long time, I only post one round. You can post
Yeah.
as many as you want. So like if I was super competitive, I'd sit there and play round after round after round after round after round and try to beat the best score. But
Yeah.
I don't. It's like I'm trying to have fun with it and try to have everybody have fun with it. So it's like I'm just gonna cling to that. It's like I'm gonna post my one round, and we'll see
Yeah.
how many of you can beat me or knock me off the pedestal. And I think I podiumed last time. I think it was third.
Yeah.
I think we
I
tied,
was
didn't
fifth.
we?
I was fifth. I got bumped by a couple of people as they were
Oh, okay.
really gunning for a few of us, I think.
I got you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but
Which I basically did the same thing. I had one round, which was terrible. And then I redid it again, then that was it. And I did the same thing this time. I did one round. I'm like, I don't even know the course at all. I'm going to do it once more. I actually got the exact same score.
Yeah, that happens
Not
sometimes.
totally stoked with it. And yeah, mess up in totally different holes.
Yeah.
The items kind of messed me up a little bit too.
golf
Didn't know
is
how they
supposed
really
to be
work.
played. That's why
Right,
Mario
right.
Golf Super Rush sucks.
just to make sure we
I deleted it.
solidify that point. Yeah.
Like I don't want to play it anymore. I had somebody ask me
Yeah.
about the Nintendo Dad's tournament. Like, you want to play? I was like, absolutely not.
Oh, I would still play
No,
multiplayer.
I don't think so.
But my feelings are
Maybe
hurt
if
on
they
it.
update it and it's like
Yeah.
something else, but it would have to be a drastic change because again, my biggest issue is just the actual mechanics of golfing.
Of course. Yeah.
If that's my issue, like I don't want to play that game. Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah.
I'd much rather play PGA Tour 2K, Mario Golf World
Mm-hmm.
Tour, Hot Shots, Everybody's Golf. Like I'd rather play that. Let's play that
Yeah.
instead.
Or
a better
Pokemon
game.
Unite.
Pokemon Unite, super fun.
Actually pretty good. I'm telling you, man, this is the year 2021, the year of Pokemon for me.
Low Roll, he says, I think from your perspective, it's totally fair. Just curious if Luigi's Mansion 3 was the last one that caught your eye.
Oh,
I mean, like
wow.
it's been 2 years. I'd have to look at a list of games, to be honest.
That was a good year for you, too. Wasn't that the
Dude,
same year
Luigi's
as Astral
Mansion
Chain?
3 is top 3 or 4 Switch game. That game
Yeah.
fucking rocks. I love that
Yeah.
game. Maybe I'll replay that game. That game was
Mm-hmm.
epic. It was so damn good.
Don't you feel like time has run out to replay games, though? Like, now we're getting into it. New games are coming out.
Yeah, sort of. I never really feel that way, but I get what you mean. Like, there's stuff coming, and if you want to stay somewhat current, you gotta make time. But I'm always I'm always kind of, even if I don't play it like beat the whole thing, I'm always kind of replaying something at some
That's
point.
true. Yeah.
I played
Ascent
like
is coming
Gears
out this
4
week.
last week. Yeah, I'm very excited for the Ascent.
You played Gears 4 last week.
I did play Gears 4 last week.
Man, you're so good at games.
I'm definitely gonna go back and replay the story in Gears 4. Still,
Have you
think
ever played any
the
of them co-op?
story in Gears 4 is way better.
Oh, I completely disagree.
Yeah.
Oh, no
we would
way.
have to disagree completely on that then. I love the story.
Although I
of
haven't
4,
played it since it came out.
and 4 story and just so much better than 5 story.
I just don't. I mean, I'd have to go back and maybe now that I'm just used to all the characters, I feel like I just couldn't get over a lot of the
5
performances.
story really just spins its wheels. It's not really much of a story, actually.
Yeah.
That's my biggest
Yeah.
complaint about it. You don't really accomplish anything. Like when you end the game in 5, like you really haven't moved anything forward. It's almost like still in its place. Like Gears 6 could start after the beginning of 5 or the end of 5. Not a whole lot would really change, I guess, in terms of
I kind of
this trilogy arc.
I kind of feel like if you're in a trilogy, the second one is sort of the pivot, where actually you're not even. I'm okay with it not moving forward at all. It's something was happening in the first one, and then it's a 90-degree turn in the second one, so that you actually end up in a totally different spot. It's not a forward line. You kind of have you do have enough kind of like changes or
Well,
discoveries.
I've always said that Gears, and I'm not throwing stones at Gears 5. I love them both. But Gears 5 is just more about character development instead of like plot, progression. The plot hasn't really progressed in 5 as much as the characters have just been built out better. But
Yeah.
in Gears 4, the plot is progressed a shit ton because they're basically trying to unify these two universes, right? They're trying to tie
Right.
you over from 3, but build for the future at the same time. And you really go places, like with Reyna and Kate and everything. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
progression there, and I appreciate. So that's why I wanted to replay it, because I'm just really appreciating, especially with Marcus and his wife and Graves and everything. It's just there's a lot of fan service in 4, whereas
Yeah.
5 is really just about Kate's development, her awareness, her understanding of who she is and the issues they're in, like, which sets up for an epic 6. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where they go. Yeah, but that's just my take. I like 4.
I guess I like a couple things on this. One, I think I should go back to 4 because I've now had a lot of time to just get used to what did they do in 4. Where when you're playing for the first time, you're kind of used to all the things in 3, and maybe I had a little bit of like closed-mindedness to like what are these robots and who are these characters, especially with like somebody like Oscar. I just thought like what I didn't like him at all, and then suddenly I
Oh,
care a
no.
lot about him at the beginning of the game.
Yes, I liked Oscar too. Yeah.
Well, I didn't like him at all, but then I felt impacted by things in the 5th game. I was like, how the heck did that happen? So maybe I am more connected to it. And it's funny because like what happened with Gears is very similar with me and Halo, where a lot of people like I find out afterwards are like other people are really into the story of Halo, and I just didn't even care like at
Yeah.
all. Like when I was playing it back in the day, not even a little bit. And so when people had an issue with the 5th game because of its story, and then that's really when I was getting into these communities as well. Like I found that really surprising. I'm like, you're following this?
Well,
Like, what are you talking about?
Your advice on that actually helped me out with Halo a lot, because I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to follow it and really struggling to keep up. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't get any of this stuff. And when I was like into wikis and plots and YouTube videos, and we were playing it one time, and I was like, dude, I just don't get it and everything. You were like, who cares?
Who
Just
cares?
play it. And ever since then, I really started to have a lot more fun with Halo, because I took your advice on that one.
Yeah, Dano says gasps in Spanish. You didn't care about Halo's story. And then, like later on, like maybe like it just didn't seem like an impediment to me to enjoy it like at all.
I'm looking
I
at
was just shooting.
Switch
colorful
games
guns.
on Metacritic by release.
Yeah,
Like, none of these games this year have done much
Yeah.
for me. And I don't think, but here's the thing, like, they're not doing much for, not that Metacritic means anything, but
Yeah.
like on Metacritic, like they're not doing much either. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm necessarily alone. I don't think it's like obscure.
well, think
that-
about what you got. You got 3D World, which is a Wii U port. Now we got Skyward Sword, which is a Wii U port, all in the same year. I don't know what else like Pokemon Snap was Pokemon Snap. You're kind of into it or you're not.
yeah.
Monster
we
Hunter
got-
Stories too.
Like last year, we got Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which everybody knows how much I love. Like, that might be the last like big Switch release that I was like really into. In terms of like, I don't know, hype mania. But even like I'm quickly going through like best rated of all time, just to kind of jog my memory.
yeah.
Xenoblade last year, I
Yeah.
played that for
That was notable. I beat the
20
game.
hours. Yeah, you went all the way.
That
I
was
gave
my
up
that
on
was
it a
my
little
big
bit.
anime game that I did.
But most of the games, to be honest with you, most of them that I would call that like really stung out were like 2019 or sooner. Like I feel
I also
like
think it's just
2019
part
or
of.
sooner was much better than 2019 and after so far.
I think anybody should just try podcasting about Nintendo for a full couple of years, and you go through this.
Yeah.
Some annual lineups are just like way better than others, and I guess this year really isn't it. Like, and I've gone through it, where Bobby was all into Animal Crossing. I'm like, I'm just waiting for something. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
please,
Yep.
God, give me something.
Yeah, especially
Holy
after
crap.
COVID, like we had this spell and we had a lot of ports. Like I wasn't into Hades, so like you feel like
Yeah.
I swing and a miss there.
Yeah, I got
wasn't
it on
into-
PC.
Wasn't into Mario Golf, so swing and a miss there. Pokemon Snap, I really didn't like. That was
Yeah,
so the swing and a miss there. But I like Zelda and I played Zelda, so I'm very very happy with Zelda. But Zelda's not like
sure.
Skyward Sword's not like on my to do list. Maybe Mario Maker, June 2019, Mario Maker 2. Like I love that. It was great. But it's been a minute. August
It was
2019 was
2019. That's 2
Astral
years
Chain.
ago. Yeah,
Astral Chain.
Yeah.
I loved Astral Chain. That was my jam. I played the mess out of that game. But yeah, the recent ones haven't done it a whole lot. Well, you know what? 2020 Streets of Rage 4. Love Streets of Rage 4.
yeah.
So bought the stupid edition. So maybe that one.
I'm just looking at like what's coming up that might like fix this for you, but I don't know if I don't know
More
if it
Heroes
will.
3.
Well, yeah, it's not first party, but is it exclusive or is that coming to
exclusive.
PC as well?
I really hoped it was coming to PC because
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's going to perform that. It looks like the performance can be pretty sluggish on the Switch, which is
Yeah.
fine for me because I've waited for this game for 15 years. So I will happily play it on the Switch, and then when it comes to PC, I will buy it and replay it again.
how there's been nothing in 15 years. Have they not done like remasters
No,
or anything
it's
like
not.
that?
It
or-
hasn't, I'm being exaggerated. It's not that long.
Sure.
No More Heroes 2. I feel
Yeah.
like was like 2010. I don't know. God, you're really jogging my memory. Then it's
Neo: The World Ends with You comes out this week.
get out of here with that nonsense.
Says Hobie. Apparently, that could be your game. I don't even know what
No,
what that
it's
is.
definitely not. 2010. Yeah, my memory's right. I'm not going crazy as much as I think I am. Yeah,
Wow.
and then of course we had Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes on Switch. Was it 2018, 2019?
Yeah,
Which I loved, but that's a completely different type of game. But No More Heroes 3, I'm very excited for. I'm like over
Yeah.
the moon excited for. I cannot wait to play it. Cannot wait to play it.
is that a full price game?
Yeah.
Is that something we got to plunk
Oh,
down? Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna get it? I don't know.
I'm not
one,
testing. I'm not testing it out.
I don't know
for
anybody
full
that's gonna
price.
get it. Like Crouchy, of course. I think me and Grouch are the only people I know that's gonna get it.
Give me a demo.
Not that I think most people would either.
Yeah.
It's an obscure game.
I just don't even. I don't know. Like I know very little about it actually. Like I don't.
No More
really know what to
Heroes,
expect.
like the core franchise, No More Heroes
Yeah.
1, 2, and now 3. They're very basically like Kill Bill, the anime game.
Yeah, which sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And it's very like just raunchy and grotesque, lots of cuss words, cut people's heads off, lots of blood
Yeah.
splatter. But like Suda in so many ways, in my opinion, I mean Suda in so many ways is just the Tarantino of video games. And I don't think that's like a crazy opinion. I think that's almost well received at this point. I think a lot of publications would say the same thing. I mean, he just goes for that same kind of, I don't know, like shtick. But like the thing that I love about Tarantino is he's very cool. Like everything almost
Yeah.
comes out, it's very cool. And he almost gives
Yeah.
like his characters lots of room to breathe.
Super stylized.
Yeah, and that is very Suda. So if you're
Yeah.
into that, like if you don't mind somebody throwing some cuss words or scantily clad women and things like that, if that's what bothers you, then this is not the game for you. But
Yeah,
if you're into
yeah.
that type of stuff and you realize that it's a play and it's almost a parody and a lot of times it mocks fun of other things like in current government or in current politics or in current culture, like his ability to break the fourth wall and make fun of gamers and make like there was one he did the Metacritic in like Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about he's like this game's going to be so underappreciated. He's like I guarantee you the Metacritic's going to be like 48, but then in 4 years your copy's going to be $400. Like he does that type of stuff. Like if you're not into
Yeah.
that, you would hate it. But if you're into that or if you think it's entertaining, you'll love it because it is fucking awesome. I love this.
What's
series.
the on ramp
Obviously.
like for so many like especially Quentin Tarantino, like everybody got in at Pulp Fiction basically. Like once you're in there, then you can kind of understand what you're in for.
Sure.
But like I don't know that every Tarantino movie you go like, okay, just recommend this to everybody. And I don't know if it's the same thing for Suda. Like, is there a game that like is sort of like an easier on ramp to
I
all this?
I've been asked that question a lot. The one that I would, if you're even remotely interested, if you're just like Donnie's got all this hype and I want to see what he's talking about, then
Exactly.
play No More Heroes 2. Don't
How
play
do I
the
play?
first
Where is
one.
that?
It's on Switch. It's on PlayStation 4 and it's on Steam. You can buy the remaster. They're cheap. I think they're $20, $15, something like that.
See, that's what I could do. Like it's almost like a cheat demo. It's almost
Yeah.
like a,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, it might go
I
on
could try
sale
that out.
before 3 releases. The reason that I always
could
recommend
add to it.
I recommend
wish list.
2 for very specific reasons. Number 1 was awesome in its day. Like No More
Yeah.
Heroes in its day was great because on Wii it was one of the like only open world games. Like on No More Heroes 1, you actually get on his motorcycle and you drive around town, you go do all these mini games and all these fetch quests and all this stuff. But today, now, that world
Sure.
is like pretty empty. There's not
Yeah.
a whole lot that you're doing there. You're basically going to waypoints, so it can feel a bit padded. No More Heroes 2 is extremely streamlined. You go from point A to point B and you fight people and you just what you're doing. So the plot of the game, have you ever Okay,
No.
so, all right, so
No,
Travis
I've got it pulled
Touchdown.
up here now on my.
Our hero is Travis Touchdown. He picks up a beam katana, which is absolutely a lightsaber. I mean, Suda just rips off like so much culture.
That's
in these games.
awesome.
He picks up a lightsaber at a yard sale, I believe, and he wants to become the greatest assassin in the world. So enters Sylvia, who runs this like league of assassins, and she puts him in. And in the first game, Sean, you start at 50, and you're like, "Oh my god, am I going to have to climb all the way to 1?" And no, like you climb from 50 to like 11 in like, in like 2 missions,
What?
and then you take on like 10 assassins in front of you, and that's where we meet like Shinobu and all this stuff. But like Kill Bill, every assassin in front of you has like their own unique backstory. Like they're very flamboyant and their own flair and everything. Like they're all completely crazy and different, right? It's like you got Batgirl with her
I'm into
baseball
this.
bat, but then you've got like dude with like the revolvers and he's like singing opera in a baseball stadium. Like what the hell's happening? You eventually get a mech and you're in mechs and
Oh,
you're
I'm in.
fighting with mechs, so like it's that kind of thing as you
Yeah.
climb the ranking to be the best. And he wants to become the best because he wants to bang Sylvia. Like he's totally
Yeah.
got the hots
Makes
for her,
sense.
right?
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So like along the way, you've kind of have this meta thing where he's trying to do this, but he's also trying to become the best in the world. And then there's actually all this other backstory, which 2 is basically just all of that streamlined. That's why I always recommend 2. The one I
Yeah.
would recommend the least would be Travis Strikes Again, because Travis Strikes Again completely is a top-down like action brawler, but it's completely different. And No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again is basically a love letter to Suda, and there's like references to every game he's ever made.
Okay.
Like Fire Pro Wrestling, Killer is Dead, Shadows of the Damned, Killer 7, everything is in there. And if you
One
don't
of these screenshots looks like
you-
Metal Gear.
if you don't know any of that, like if you don't know any of that, any of his stories, you're going to be completely lost in Travis Strikes Again. So
Well, I'm lost even in the name of it. The fact that Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes is like I thought this was like a remaster or something like that.
nope, it's a completely new game, which I love. I have my autographed copy, but it's not for everybody. You gotta
Sure.
to appreciate it. You either gotta look up the references or you gotta know them. And even
Yeah.
me being a fan, I still had to look up several because I haven't played every game in the series either. But like if you love Shadows of the Dam, there's like a whole chapter in that game that's basically like a Shadows of the Dam sequel. Like it's a little love letter type of thing that he kind of threw in there, which is really cool. Like that's the type of stuff you see like in movies that I don't think we see in games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to use a term because I know it's been used lately, but like a director's cut, like in the true sense of the form,
Yeah.
is kind of what Travis Strikes Again is.
Did you talk about the director's cut thing? Because I'm hearing all these PlayStation
I
podcasts
did
going
not.
like, oh, whatever. I think that this is garbage that they're using this term. I am not happy with this at all. And no, it is not okay. Director's cut means something.
It
and
does
I
in
love
the-
that
in the world
Kojima
of
came out and
film.
said, no,
Yeah.
this is not a director's cut.
I would expect
No.
that Kojima wouldn't really like. If you like Kojima, that's another thing I've always said. If you like Kojima stuff, I think you might be into Suda stuff if you can bend a little bit towards like the otaku stuff. But like they're almost very, in terms of story writing, like they're almost very similar in that they're almost nonsensical and really like outlandish, and you got to really almost like keep up with them.
Sure.
And some
Yeah.
people love that about it, right? Like that's the whole thing with the with the damn horror game that everybody keeps going on about Kojima now, because they're like, he's just crazy enough to do it, isn't he? Like, Suda is very much in that realm. Like,
Yeah.
I totally see him doing like a Ghost Rider game effort. He did Fatal Frame in Japan. Like, a lot of people don't know that he did
Ooh.
Fatal Frame 4 in Japan.
I didn't
like,
know
he
that.
wrote it. Yeah, he's done a few of those things. He's done a little consulting here and there.
Wonder if Kevin Smith would ever weigh in on a video game. He's kind of getting around. Did you are you
I think
into He-Man
Kevin
at
and
all?
Josh and like with all that. No, I've never been like super into
Yeah.
that stuff.
Apparently, He-Man fans are pissed.
Oh,
at
really?
This whole thing. Yeah. Apparently, because Kevin Smith wrote a He-Man
realize
little
there was a
miniseries thing.
Big He-Man following.
I,
There's a
Me
He-Man
neither.
community.
me neither. Well, you only know when they
I
like
thought that
their
was like my
their
dad's show or
torches.
something. Like when he was little. Like really? Wow.
Yeah. No. I was that age when like He-Man was a thing and
Really?
She-Ra. Yeah.
I
That was
barely
definitely a thing. But
remember
it felt
anything
old.
like it.
It did feel old. Like when we watched it, it seemed like it
Mm-hmm.
maybe had come from a different.
Yeah, I
time
feel
or
like I
something
felt
that.
like that's a generation before me.
No, it definitely. Oh, probably. I mean, yeah. What are we? How many years are between us? I don't know if there's up.
I'm
10?
34.
Oh, God. I don't know. So 3 years. Basically.
Yeah, that's not that far.
Yeah, no, not at all. So yeah, I mean, but sometimes when you're a kid, that's all the difference.
Yeah, it can
When
be.
you're in grade 3 and you look at a
100%.
kid in grade 6, you're like, good God, this kid
Yep.
will eat me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, well, I added these things to my wish list. I'll pick them up on sale. These other ones. These
Yeah,
No More
if
Heroes
you get
2
No
is
More
on.
Heroes 2 and you really don't like it, then you're not gonna like 3, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I got into Suda with my cousin Susan when I was kind of coming into games, and she's the one that kind of got me into it. And then like he started making games like for the Wii, which I was like
Yeah.
all into, and then he did a Lollipop Chainsaw, which I absolutely
Yeah.
love. So like for me,
I never
it's,
played that one.
it's more hits than misses for me. Like I loved Killer 7 back in the day, although it's hard to go back to now. And I've been talking about releasing. They did a remaster for Steam, and I played it. They didn't touch any of the controls, and that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Controls are old, and his games have always kind of controlled wonky. No More
Yeah.
Heroes don't, so you don't have to feel bad about that. No More Heroes is pretty straightforward, but
Honestly, I would have gone into it thinking that, like kind of expecting a bit of a strange control, whatever. Games just don't feel the same. Sometimes I'll have like the Y button be
he released the
raw
silver
jump
case
or
on
something.
Switch like last month, and I had a lot of people. They're like, "You're gonna get the silver case," and I have the silver case. It's right there.
Yeah.
Is super hard to play.
Is it?
It's very weird just in how you move and traverse and do actions. It's just obscure.
Yeah. Very it just seems very logical. It's kind of like, I guess in somebody's mind this makes sense to
Yeah.
do it in this order, but
Yeah. It's a lot of like to move forward, like hold a trigger and press the D-pad, and you're like, what the hell?
I should say you just think about like tank controls.
That's
I
an
think
easy
like a
way
lot
for
of stuff
me
came
to.
out of that.
That's an easy way for me to bounce, and like those are the things that
Oh,
I
yeah.
expect to fix on a remaster. Like if you remaster a game, like fix that, which they did with No More Heroes. No More Heroes, like you can still have the motion controls if you want to do the. He does
Yep.
that, Sean. This is how you charge the beam katana.
Okay.
But you don't have to. Like in the game, you can just wiggle the stick back and forth if you want to. It's got button controls.
Yeah.
It's better than Skyward Sword's button controls.
That's an interesting thing you brought up, though. I don't know that I really expect controls to really be touched in a remaster.
Really?
Although maybe we're getting to that
That's
point.
almost
I
like
don't
the
know.
first thing that I think of. It's like if you're going to remaster the game, if your game like controlled weird or something for its time, the first thing I want to hear from you is like we've modernized the controls.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just trying to like work through this because I also have really come down on what they did for Mario All Stars, and that wasn't enough. And maybe controls is part of it, or at least camera controls maybe is
I'll say when the,
in my mind where it's a
and
little
that one they
separate, but
did
maybe
kind
not.
of change it because they had to, right? Because you don't have the N64 controller. But
Yeah, but they still
they
it's still
didn't-
the
and I think
shift around,
everybody
rotate
wanted
left
free
to-
camera. Like if they'd added free camera,
it's exactly what I'm getting at. Exactly.
which is what they
Yeah.
did in Skyward Sword. And like, can the Zelda team tell the Mario team some stuff? Like, can you help them out, guys?
Yeah, just hold down L while you want to use your right. And you can't even. Oh man, I'm at the point of the game. I think in Skyward Sword where they're really testing the patience on it because everything's electrified. Everybody's got an electrified sword or everything. Like if I hit them at the wrong time, I'm gonna get zapped, and then they'll hit me, and I'll do whatever. And that like the accuracy has to be 100%, and it's just not.
And
Like
I feel
sometimes
like
I
the
will
combat.
swipe up.
Well, we talked about this last week, but I feel like the combat's choreful, and I think when they exaggerate like that, it just makes it more apparent.
Yeah,
Like, even
you made
without
such
all
a
that
good
stuff, I
point.
just don't like the combat. It's like this isn't fun.
I don't know if it was on this show or the other show, but you on Nintendo Shack, I can't remember where it was that you said that if it was just limited to like the boss fights,
Yeah,
that was such a good
it
call. That
would
would have
make
been
the game
so.
so much better.
And you're like looking at your like even like the way that you played it back then, you look at your Wii remote, go like, thank God I've got this Wii Motion Plus for this moment.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't have felt quite so gimmicky. Nintendo doesn't really do that very well, like operate with any restraint or discipline.
No, I was gonna say
You know
the
what I mean?
opposite. I brought that up on Nintendo Shack. They do the opposite. It's a very Nintendo way of thinking, but they'll come up with a mechanic and they'll build an entire game around it. Like they go
Yeah.
full bore, and that, I mean that's sometimes it totally works. They did with Ocarina, and it did with Mario 64. Those are giant hits that they completely built around the damn joystick and the Z button. Like
The
they
Z
were
targeting
like,
is just
this
like,
is how to
yeah.
do 3D games, and they went super hard on that, and it worked.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
totally worked. But the world is littered with VR boys and 3D and the Wii stuff where they've and like
VR
here's the
boys.
thing though, on the Wii, like I don't hate motion controls. I love motion controls.
Yeah. Same.
I just think they went way too far with it with Skyward Sword. Like Red Steel is very Skyward Swordish and awesome. Like Red
Yeah.
Steel was great, but it wasn't that's my issue. The thing that I've always said about Skyward Sword is like when they realized that it wasn't like so true to form that you could pull it off every time, that
back
should have
off.
signaled to back off, and they didn't. They're like
Yeah.
just doubled down on making it work. And I don't know. I haven't researched the backstory of Skyward Sword or anything, but it feels like almost very like somebody like Miyamoto or maybe it was Anuma or something. Somebody just like they had this vision and they were like, we're going to do this.
Star Fox is the same thing.
Yeah.
Star Fox Zero is exactly the same thing.
Same thing. Same thing. It's
Yeah.
just like guys, it's not fun though.
Yeah, well, it's just too bad that like that resulted in probably what will be a ice age for Star Fox. Like we probably won't see Star Fox forever.
I hope
after
not. I hope we do. But here, the thing with Star Fox that is very different than like Metroid. How many good Star Fox games are there? Because I still contend that there's like one.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like there's like one good Star Fox game, and it's like, and I don't mean to, like, I enjoyed Adventures in its time, but like, would I call it like a really good game? No, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah,
So it's like Star Fox, they either need to go back on rails and like make a on rails shooter awesome, or they got to do something different, right? Like do like they did with the Ubisoft game that they had with the little open world thing.
Oh, Starlink, yeah.
Starlink, yeah. Like do that, like open space traversal game, or get back on rails. But like what you're kind of doing with like the mini games and the dual screen and like the platform, like none of that worked.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because there's been several of those games, and then like no Metroid for so long. It's like Metroid as a
Unreal.
game is just so much better.
Yeah. Or Kirby games. You get all the Kirby games. My
those
funny
are
thing about
cheap.
the Star Fox Zero, is that what it's called? Star Fox Zero?
Yeah.
Great cover art, by the way. I thought
Oh,
it looked
yeah.
really good. I thought it was really good.
The opening level
and
is dope.
it totally was. I was
Yeah,
like, "There's,"
it's
and
real
actually,
good.
that's where my point here is. Like, I actually was kind of enjoying
Yeah, you
what
were.
they had done with the second screen.
You were like, what
and
are
then
all
they-
these reviews so bad for? The game's
Pretty
so
much.
good.
Well, they really did hang in on the controls, but my issue was that like the different vehicles that were terrible, like the gyro, whatever the hell,
Yeah.
ruined
That's
the game
it.
for
Like
me.
when you get into chapter 4, you're like, oh. Right. But you
Just
sit back and
boring.
you remember, you're like, but the first level was so good. Just do
Yeah.
that. Just give me like 12 of those. Just put
Yeah.
those back to back to back to back. Because like Star Fox and Star Fox like 64, which was done on 3D again, those are like the true, like really good Star Fox games.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
Yeah,
just
no
make
doubt.
that again. Just make Star Fox 64 too. Just go back to being a good on-rail shooter with branching paths and let people run through it and chase high scores and stuff. Like, make that game. I feel like they don't think that game would sell.
Well, the logic in Nintendo Land is just always so backwards. Like some games, they'll do the same thing over and over and over again, and they'll sell like
But
crazy,
they
and everybody
sell.
will be fine with it.
That's it.
I guess maybe that is it.
That's
yeah,
it. It sells. Like,
Why
you're gonna
can't
keep
they just
making
do-
that 2D Mario game because everybody keeps
Yeah.
freaking buying it.
that's true. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Yeah. I wonder how well like those Kirby games do. Like even though they're still a Kirby game, but like there's the Rainbow
Kirby
Curse.
is such an outlier because
Epic
they're
Yarn.
usually much cheaper to make, and it's HAL. Most of the time,
Yeah.
HAL Laboratories making them, and they're like much smaller in scope.
Mm. Yeah, I
But
guess
with
it's always just gonna be
I love
2D.
Starlink and I love what they did with Star Fox. So I mean, you've heard me say on Nintendo Jack. I'm all for giving Ubisoft Star Fox. It's like
Yeah,
just go take
I
this thing
know.
you did and make a Star Fox game with it. And it'll be
hmm
freaking
hmm
awesome, and we'll all play it and we'll have a blast. I mean, just a
And it would take
full
half the teams that they got on some of those other
yeah.
games.
And stop making Ghost Recon shooter mobile game. Go
Yeah,
make an actual Star Fox space game. Like that'd
or
be
X
great.
Defiant.
Because it worked. Like the Ubisoft formula of go to all these different
Yep.
planets or outposts and clear all the enemies and do these little puzzles and keep progressing as you go forward to fight the big bad. That works for Star Fox. That's
Yeah.
great. I just don't
Ubisoft can
necessarily
legit make
expect
a game called MapQuest.
I don't expect Nintendo to make a game like that. Like that's not really in their wheelhouse. Like that big
Right.
open world game, like outside of what they did with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I think that's why so many people liked it. Breath of the Wild was like that game, that first game where they ventured into
Yes.
that mode. But like Ubisoft cranks out like 6 of those a year.
Yeah, they got it down.
Give them Star Fox and let them make one. Like if that would
Mm-hmm.
be that'd be tremendous.
Man, I feel like Ubisoft might be on a bit of a downward turn here, unfortunately.
Well, did you hear
Like,
my
I don't
rant?
know. On Empire?
Yeah, well, I had to had to tell everybody I was sorry and kind of specify the day after. But yeah, I was Ubisoft, man. Every time they talk,
there.
it makes me mad. Like I'm just like one after the other.
Yeah.
They're
I
just
mean, this is just it's so predictable though. Like like they were so high, they had such a great generation. They fought off like the hostile takeover
Yeah.
from was it
Vivendi.
Vivendi or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they did such a good job. They
Just
were gonna
like,
get bought out.
I
and they
hate
just
that them being Ubisoft doesn't appear good enough. Like they're not okay with that. They can't be Ubisoft. They need to be Rockstar. Or
Yeah.
they need to be, Bungie or something. It's like, what are you doing?
I
That's
know.
not what you do. Why are you trying to
Sad.
not do what you do? Like this doesn't. I don't know. It makes me sense. It makes me mad because I'm always very mindful. It's like, man, don't ruin what got you here.
Yeah.
Like this
always-
is what brought you to the dance. Don't discard it now.
It's so hard because also that mindset would keep you from getting a Breath of the Wild. Like just keep making Zelda games the way you've been making Zelda games, but like there's I don't know if it's exactly a like apples to apples comparison because there
I
is
don't
a
think
certain
the
point-
majority of Assassin's Creed fans were telling them to stop making the games they were making though. Like Zelda.
Well, they
fans were.
definitely weren't. They were buying especially the last 3. Like those were the most successful Assassin's Creed games. Like
Right.
that was
Exactly.
I guess they just don't want to wait for it to dip before doing the next thing, or
I don't know.
Like it's just so hard to predict how people would how people would accept the next game if it was just another like Valhalla, because maybe there's a bit of that of okay, this is too big. Like we get it, you can make a gigantic Assassin's Creed.
That's
game.
what I've always wanted. I've just been kind of petitioning I would love for them to come out and be like, you can beat this Assassin's Creed game in 35 hours.
Yeah,
And it's much
Yeah.
smaller, but it's much more story focused. And I feel like they're scared to do that. I feel like they think that they would get a revolt. But and maybe they
Probably.
would. But I'd be
Yeah.
here to tell everybody that they're wrong. I would
You know what they
definitely
do?
pick up that flag and run.
make it for Switch. Make it a Switch exclusive. It's sort of like whenever you picked up any game on Game Boy, like they are always smaller. Any handheld game is just always smaller. You have like this different version of it. You
Yeah.
can do that on Switch. You have a 30-hour game.
I think
it's just
and honestly, I think that's why they're doing the infinite thing. And I think what they're looking at is that they can't, the business model of taking 2 years to make this 400-hour game full of
Yeah.
content, like it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
They're like, we got to change this. So I think that's the thing. I think that's why they're looking to flip. And it's like, well, just stop making the damn games so damn big.
Doesn't it
know?
feel like games are just like they're making this huge jump to their final form, and we're like, we're not
Yeah.
ready for your final form yet.
Yeah.
Like, we'd like a couple, we'd like to stay here a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
Just-
Because what are you gonna do after that? Like it's just impossible for
question,
us to
Sean.
comprehend after that. And we're like, we're not ready for forever in everything.
And my
We
thing,
joke about it with
honestly, isn't
Smash.
even the Creed thing, but because if you were doing a Creed hub with different stories and stuff, it's like, I guess
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to pay $60 a year for something like that. But
No.
but my thing is everything else. The thing that was really making me mad is just like the Tom Clancy, the Division, the Hyperscape, the whatever they're doing with what's the new Division thing that they're doing?
Yeah, what the heck is that called? I can't
I
remember.
forget what it's called,
Yeah.
but it's like they're just dying to chase some game that will just live infinitely into existence, and they're just pull so hard at it. And I don't understand where that's coming from. Like, why are they just so hell bent on being the next Fortnite or the next GTA Online or the next Destiny? It doesn't always work out too. You know, for every one of
Huge
those,
risk.
you know, like it is huge risk, and you're going against really established players with Warzone and Apex. Like, are you gonna
Yeah.
jump in there and become one of those? You're gonna become, you know, Battlegrounds or something like
You
that.
know what you know what Ubisoft kind of needs now though? I feel like, and this maybe gets into the importance of either an E3 or something like this, but like does Ubisoft have like a conference, like a BlizzCon or something like that? I feel like they could have their
They
own
could.
thing.
They definitely
And
could.
Dano in the chat says there's no or little continuation as far as story that connects them all, which is I feel like just across all of the games that they're putting out there, it would be kind of nice if there just seemed like a cohesive plan.
I think
That would
that's
like
people's hopes with the Creed Unity, is that there's like this
right.
hub and they kind of give us these DLCs or these expansions, but they're all kind of loosely tied together because they're in this thing
Sure.
together. And I don't. I mean, that sounds awesome. Like in this post Marvel universe world where you know, like you've got these 20 movies that all build to something.
Oh, sorry. That's not what I mean at all. I mainly mean like when you talk about like Ubisoft seems to be chasing stuff, right? Because it seems like just like on a Tuesday they'll go, we're going to announce this whatever X Defiant, and then another like 3 Wednesdays ago was the Division thing. It just seems so random, and it would I feel at least for us and our kind of communities, it would come across a little bit more cohesive as just like a here's the next 5 to 10 years of Ubisoft.
Well, I think
like,
that's what their
we're doing
E3
this
show is
purposefully.
supposed to be, and it hasn't been that.
It's supposed to be exactly. It's
Their
supposed to be
last
like
two
that.
E3 shows has been kind of a miss. But like,
Sure,
do you want
yeah.
Far Cry Infinite?
No, that's what
I
I mean.
don't-
I don't
I
want my
don't
games
want
to be
that at
their final
all.
form. No,
And
no.
And I like for Creed, I honestly care very little about the meta universe. Like I know that there was the Animus and all that, but like
Totally.
that's
yeah.
gone.
It's almost regretful
a
it now
thing.
at
It's
this
like
point.
I don't care. I don't want to even hold them to that. Like
Right.
I don't care.
We can just absolve them. If we can do like a change.org petition, just like, okay, you guys can let it go.
Yeah.
We don't care. You're totally free.
It was
We'll just-
cool. Like I'm not saying I didn't like it, but they're
Totally.
not going to give it what people want it. So just get rid of it.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
like at this point, you're just holding on to it for the sake of for not making anybody angry. So like, let's just scrap it.
And why can't it just be like you're just playing like as it what? Like what happened in that story? Instead of having like it being memories or whatever,
Yeah.
just go back to that time. Like you're playing that assassin, that original assassin. You're just playing as Ivor
Yeah.
instead of it being the memory of one or however the heck that's supposed
Yep.
to work out.
Yep.
Like just do that.
Yep.
It's not even like you'd have to break the canon at
Can
all.
all be done in like a cutscene.
Totally.
Or even like a paragraph,
the
like
premise
before
of the
you
game.
start. Yeah, like just a little, just like a Zelda game. You know, the year is such and such and such, and you've taken up the role as an assassin. You know, like you could just do something like that. But
Oh, was Origins the first? Was that supposed to be the first one where it all started? Was that I can't remember. Even they all blur together a little bit. Like,
don't
was that the origin of the Assassin's Order? I don't know
I
if
don't
it
know.
was.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many things. That
I
they
didn't play that one as
direct
much.
from
I
all
wasn't
these.
into that one as much as most people.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I've
It
actually
was very good.
Like
yeah.
the Uncharted ones, I like Valhalla, Odyssey, Origins in that order. Like the newest ones. Are
Wow,
the best
Valhalla
ones.
more than
Oh,
Odyssey.
dude,
okay.
I love Valhalla. I'm 100 hours into
believe
Valhalla. I
you.
did Wrath of Druids and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I love this game. I absolutely
Mm.
love it. I know when we were 2 weeks after launch on Empire, and I told Elena, "This is my favorite Assassin's Creed."
Yeah.
100% believe that. Like that hasn't,
You're not alone.
That
There's a
hasn't
lot of people.
faltered at all. It's like I love this game, and honestly, like didn't even need to be called Assassin's Creed. You could have just called it Valhalla.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Like,
interesting.
It could have just been a whole separate thing. But you know, like
Mm-hmm.
the Assassin's Creed name and everything gets slapped onto it. But
When
yeah,
is Far Cry this year? When is it?
yeah,
October?
October.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Oh, dude, I'm so there. But like that's what
I'm so glad
that's
you're
my
into it,
fear.
man.
So like when I'm on my podcast and I'm ranting and mad because like my fear is the next thing they're gonna be like in our next game, Far Cry next, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
like I'm gonna stop giving you guys any money. Like it
Yeah.
just seems like one after the other. Like they're just going down a checklist like of
Yeah.
every franchise they have, and they're like, let's have a live service game for every one of these, so
Yeah.
we don't have to make actual campaigns anymore. To me,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. To me,
You'll at least get one of those like Far Cry Primal or whatever the heck they did for 5. What is it? New Dawn.
Yeah.
You'll at least get one more sort of like
I hope.
like Aftershock kind of thing, which have been great, honestly. Like they've been at least from my perspective, I think they've been
I
very
love
very
New Dawn.
good.
I didn't like
Yeah.
I didn't like the ending, but I love New Dawn. I'm like I love
New,
playing.
the ending was so
I hated-
bizarre.
I hated the ending.
Yeah.
I thought they did Joseph Seed wrong, but that's also my bias because I absolutely love the Seed family. They were great. I couldn't wait to take them down.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
that's
I love
my
talking
issue.
about this.
My
Yeah,
issue.
nobody
with
else
New
is like this.
My issue with New Eden was it's like you just ruined this amazing premise that you had because it's just kind of throwaway and lame. You know, like
Yeah.
just kind of what you like. You're expecting like this big crescendo, and it's just
Yeah.
like a little pop in the background.
Yeah.
You know, just like oh, that kind of sucked, didn't it? But I love getting there. I love the journey on the way there. So
We got a little splash of a couple games with like Rage 2 and that one. Like everything was just like the colored powder kind of stuff going around. Like just
yeah.
I don't even know what you
Dude,
call
New
it. Just that
Eden
color.
looked amazing
It really did.
when it came out. You
Yeah.
remember like that turquoise water, like when you open up and get. I was like, holy! Like,
Far Cry has always blown me away. I remember we played Far Cry on Wii. I don't know if it might have been the actual first Far Cry was on Wii, and I remember thinking like something was wrong with the Wii. Like it looked so bad that I thought like somehow it was rendering something from like my PC in 1997.
yeah, those
like it
Wii
just
games.
looked horrific. Yeah. Yeah, I just never really had any idea of how weak it was. That the fact
I
that
know
it
what you're
was
talking about. I played a lot of
GameCube.
Call of Duty and Medal of Honor on Wii,
Yeah.
which I didn't actually hate. Medal of Honor, I believe 2 on Wii had some really cool stuff with the Wiimote and the zapper. Like I believe you
Yeah.
could spin your gun to like zoom in and it would like click like you were
Oh,
zooming in
that's
the click and the
cool.
stuff. So there was like some cool trade-offs, but for the most part, yeah, they looked
Yeah,
bad.
just you just have to get over it, I guess. Dano says Unity is his favorite.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's one I would love to go back if they patched it. If they patched Unity, I'd go back and play it.
I get a lot of them mixed up, honestly. Like there's
Unity
so,
wasn't
so many
Unity
names.
the first one on last gen?
Which
with the
was
brother
the one
and the
in
sister?
Where was it? Yeah, I was gonna say
Was
the
it Unity
in
or
London.
Syndicate? Am
I thought
crossing
Syndicate because
stuff?
I remember. I think I played Syndicate, and at least maybe a quarter of it, anyways.
Okay, now I need to
think
look
that was
this up.
Syndicate. See, this is what I mean. Like, I don't know who's in Unity, Dano.
It's too much.
I don't. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I think about Assassin's Creed in the early days. It was so often and it was so popular that it's one of those that the fandoms kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Unity
it
was
can't
the
be that
French
good.
Revolution one, yeah.
Oh, I never played. The Syndicate with the brother and sister was in London.
This one came out before that, and this was the first one on like PS4, Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost positive. I feel like
Was that the one that was on both? There was one that did both
I need to
on
look it
the
up.
360. They kind of bridged. Unity is about the French and some redheaded chick, says Dan.
I love it. You know. This came out in 2014, and it came out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Windows, and it's on Stadia.
Oh, it had Napoleon DLC. That's awesome.
And this is the one that like ran like awful. And if you have,
yeah.
and if I
Oh,
believe,
that's the pictures and
and
everything. The
if
eyeballs.
you have a physical copy, an original physical disc of this game that you don't update and run it on next gen, it runs like
Oh, yeah.
unpatched, and it runs great.
Yeah,
like on new
unlock
hardware.
frames.
It's like if they just add that patch to this game, I would buy it and play it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
and I believe at
unpatch
the
it.
time, I think it was running like 18 frames. Like
Yeah.
Digital Foundry was crushing this game. Like it's real hard to play, guys.
Man, when the new consoles came out and Digital Foundry was just kind of like doing their thing, like I just have so much respect for those guys. I know they get so many comments, but they're also very popular as well. I think they get enough commendations for what they do. But like, if you ever even try to mimic it, even a little bit, like even we did
It's
some
super
like
hard.
we'll compare some loading times from the 1X to the Series X, and it's like, God damn, dude, this sucks. It's so
Yeah.
tedious.
They'll comb through footage and they'll actually count frames.
It's
Like
unreal,
per
man.
second. They'll count. I mean, they're
Yeah.
the best at what they do.
They really
and
are.
And it sucks that it gets weaponized so much, but it's
Mm-hmm.
awesome that it's such a service to people.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people, and I mean, this is probably just me going on another soapbox, but for a while now, I think on Shaq, a lot of people have gotten mad at me for talking about performance, because I think there
really?
is definitely like almost like a knee jerk. It's like games, like it doesn't have to be 4K, it doesn't have to be FPS, which I hope people that have listened to me for a long time know that. They know
Yeah.
that I don't care. Like I'm not going to not play something because it's not 4K 60. I play stuff that's not 4K 60 all the time.
Right.
But at the same time, like you want good performance if you can have it. I'm not going to buy a worse version of a game just to
Right.
support Nintendo.
Right. Right.
Like at
I've
the
always
same
felt
time,
that.
yeah, I'm not going to do that either. And like the difference, I was actually somebody was tweeting at Rebecca about this, and I got lopped into the conversation, and he seemed to be really jaded or upset that so many people are always talking about performance and stuff like that. And he was like, good games games are matter about gameplay, not graphics. And I was like, yeah, but you got to realize that like performance is gameplay and not graphics. Performance is gameplay.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the graphics. Like the graphics,
Right.
just the visual fidelity and, you know, the visual effects that you're putting on screen. But like FPS, screen stutter, screen tearing, stutter while you're streaming in assets, like that affects gameplay. Like if your gameplay doesn't feel solid, if it doesn't feel smooth, if it feels jerky or stuttery like that, it can be a huge issue. To me,
Well, because it can impact your actual input into the game, which is like this is an interactive experience. So I think about like
Ryan
like
says
movies.
Unity got a FPS boost. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but he says
No, you're good.
it got an FPS boost to 60. But Ryan, let me ask you, is that one of those titles that dips the resolution to get there? Because that's not cool.
Oh,
either.
for FPS
like, let
boost.
me
Oh,
know.
right.
Like, is it one of the good FPS boosts or is it one of the bad FPS boosts?
Yeah.
Please continue, Sean. Sorry, I interrupted.
Well, I know. Like, what were we talking about again? It was like the whole does performance really matter? Like, why is it that in games that it seems to be there almost is like a pass in some cases where if like you were watching a movie and then like sometimes it's just like the sound cut out every once in a while or they didn't master this part of it. I know it's different. It's not necessarily dependent.
No,
on
but I
hardware.
understand what you're saying. Like,
But
if
the experience,
if the
is
frame
impacted.
rates, I mean, my wife notices it. Like when we put something on the TV, like progressive scan, like 4K,
Totally.
like, it really bothers her, and she doesn't like watching. You know, she's like,
Or if like the audio sync is off for a
Yeah.
little bit, it's just like get this out of here.
yeah.
Most people
that-
would never be able to stand that. Like the mouths are off or whatever.
Yeah, that happens. So, and that does bother people. I think that's an apt comparison. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm going to buy a game, I want to buy the best version of that game. If that just so happens to be the Switch version, then I'm totally going to get it. But I also, I think people sometimes will take, at least my comments, and again, I'm just being like really personal here. I think a lot of times on Nintendo Shack, they'll take my comments being negative towards Nintendo, and they're not. If anything, they're just
Right.
negative to Nintendo's console. Nintendo doesn't have this problem because the majority of their games, especially first-party developed games, all run at 60. Like they're great.
Yeah.
Their performance is stellar. It's really not a Nintendo problem. It's usually a second-party thing. You look at Calamity, it's made by somebody else. You know, like it's usually a second-party or a third-party thing.
Yeah. Even Rabbids as the game kind of went on, it was it gets a little rough there. You get some of those
It's like Monster
special
Hunter,
moves or whatever.
and, you know, like I did bring up the Camelot, like Mario Golf. I think Rebecca said she saw it, like she got there, and she's like, oh boy, because it like in that forest ruins thing, like it takes huge performance dips, huge.
Yeah.
And like
Well,
I still played it. So don't get me wrong, I'm not like some snob. It's like I'll never not play this, you know.
Throw it out.
Right? Yeah. Ooh, ugh.
Switch to.
Yeah. No, I definitely not that. But it's like you can't not bring it up.
I think it comes from a sensitive place, though. Like comments like that come from we just want Nintendo to still be okay, or I don't know. It's not always about like the topic at hand. It's always like that defensive response comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think that's the byproduct of like Digital Foundry, right? Because if they do something that's really awesome, then people will use it to slam others with. And if they do something talking about how something's really not awesome, the same thing will happen. People will take that to use it to slam others. And
I will say that it doesn't seem like the narrative.
It should be more. It should be thought of as more informative and educational,
Right,
and
right.
less
It's totally factual.
exactly.
It's I think maybe part of it is, at least if you're an Xbox fan, like we saw what this sort of narrative did to Xbox. And you don't want to see that happen again. But I will say that like now it seems like even though we have the most crystal clear reports coming in from places like Digital Foundry saying like this is exactly how this performs and here are the most like scientifically valid comparisons that they can possibly make. It seems that even though there are certain consoles that perform better than others, it doesn't seem to be hurting the other consoles as much as maybe that used to in the past. And I'm curious as to why exactly that is. Maybe it's if I'm talking specifically about PlayStation.
I think
just
you're
such a strong brand.
I think the point that you're referencing, the Xbox One at the start of last generation, I think had a lot of issues that wasn't just performance, but performance just was another feather in that cap.
Yeah.
Whereas now you don't have that issue. Even if it does perform less, like there are a lot of other good things about Xbox to prop it up,
which I prefer.
So I think that's just an outlier more than anything else. I don't think consoles have ever just sold on power. I don't think there's really any evidence of that.
No.
But that specifically at that time during that generation, Xbox had a lot of things going wrong with it. And it also hurt that it was also not the most powerful. Because if it was the most powerful at that time, maybe people would have put up with some of those other issues at the same time.
Yeah. just became a bit of a laughing stock.
Yeah, it was just kind of like you're
one
not
thing
doing
after another.
anything well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that first
It's so sad.
iteration, like, just was there anything going well for it at the time? Like,
Yeah.
any good thing?
So then it all comes back to the whole like, why do we get so sensitive about like whether or not something performs well on a system or not? It's just like it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just that's.
Well, and look,
and
some people care and some people don't. You know, like I talk to Rebecca every week. She doesn't notice, doesn't play, and it doesn't play a part to her. She's getting.
You think she really doesn't notice?
I
though?
really do. Oh, I 100% believe she's being 100% genuine. I look into
I'm also
her
seeing if
eyes.
she's in the chat with things.
I look
like
into
that,
her
you know what I mean?
eyes every week. She's 100% being absolutely honest. My wife is very similar. I will show
Yeah.
my wife these things, and she'd be like, "Why do you care? Like, how do you even notice that? Like, talking about movies and stuff like that. I'll
Yeah.
point that out. Like, I rebought. All right, so over Prime Day, I rebought Blu-rays of that '70s show because they've been upscanned in Blu-ray. They're still not like
Wow.
4K, but they look
Yeah.
better. And I put it
Yeah.
on TV, and my wife's like, "I can't tell the difference." You know,
Yeah.
like I can.
Yeah.
But I just happen to be. I think the other thing is when you take in as much as we do with digital
Mm-hmm.
Fender and stuff, you become almost educated. You've been taught what to look for. And there's another thing there. If you're not paying attention to that, like, does it matter? It really doesn't.
Yeah. It just always blows me away of like what some people notice and what some people don't. Also blows me away that like you're really not as into PC gaming as I like. This
Well, maybe
whole kind
I'm
of
about to
these
be.
types of Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you're just about to
I'm
take the
planning on
plunge.
it. Like I told you, I got my SSD. I've got my downloads queued. Like I'm planning on trying to set up my emulators. Like I'm planning on giving it a try.
Yeah, man.
I used to be into PC gaming quite a bit, Sean. By
Yeah.
7-8 years ago, I had a Steam machine and everything. Wasn't the best way to go.
PC gaming.
Yeah,
Is
it
that-
wasn't the best way to go. But like, I always wanted them to bridge that gap. And I
Yes.
think the Steam Deck is definitely one venture to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I've got this PC, it also helps that this PC, I mean, personally, like this laptop, I think just really cool. Like the way it looks. I'm like really into the way that it looks. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for this specific PC, I am I think I have a little more optimism than what I normally do. Also,
Yeah.
like it's the thing with PC gaming for me is I never wanted to like play here at my desk.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the laptop isn't. I can play anywhere. You know, so it's
Mm-hmm.
also kind of has that too.
Will you have some sort of like setup so that it can sort of like dock to your TV or anything like that? Is that a?
I don't
like,
think it's
do you-
gonna. Can it push anything to my TV? Like that's
Yeah.
that's actually the thing I don't understand because it's got all this cool stuff in it. And like, and I realize that there are thermals and clocks and things to consider, but like, it's not going to run games of 4K on my TV, right? So does it do me any good to plug it into my
You don't
TV?
think so?
I have no idea,
So
but
that
like that's what
3060, 3070 in there.
but it's like a
you're probably-
laptop version of that, right?
Yeah.
But that's what Devin and the the Game Tech channel and stuff. They're like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do anything like that.
Sure.
Devin
4K
was saying
is
like
a lot.
he was
4K
like
is
you
a
might
ton, man.
he's like you might be able to do 4K at like on like some indie games or something, but like I'm not going to be able to
Sure.
run. And here's the other thing: I have machines for that. Like when I
Yeah.
want that true 4K experience, like I have consoles for that on my
Yeah.
TV. The
Mm-hmm.
laptop's gonna be very different. It's gonna be like, do I want to take advantage of like a really sweet sale? Is there a
Yeah.
game that I actually like? Is there a Switch game like Monster Hunter Stories where I can get it on PC and just run infinitely better? Like
Yeah,
there
on
are-
your laptop, that would be nice. A
there are
game
little,
like that on your laptop.
yeah, there are
would be
little
good.
crossovers. So honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like, do I replace these 1080p monitors with like
Yeah.
1440 monitors and maybe
Yeah.
set up some sort of docking situation down here?
Mhm.
But the plan isn't to get rid of my desktop either. I mean, my desktop still runs well.
Like for your PC, your monitors for your PC, go to your 1080 on your PC right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I've got old 1080p monitors. They're IPS glossy 1080p
Yeah.
monitors. I love them. Like they're great. I got rid of my 1440 ultra wide just because it's just too much. It was curved,
Yeah.
big, and I actually, having gone back, I like having separate displays. I like being able to put stuff
Same.
in different.
You almost
things.
had me on that too. I almost was about to sell my 2 displays for the wide because it does look sweet. Like
It
there's something
looks
about
cool,
it
doesn't
looks-
it?
looks
But like
cool.
when you
Mhm.
get it and you start trying to multitask and
Yeah.
like snap things and everything, like, and especially like when I was doing my streaming, like with the Switch,
Yeah.
an absolute pain to try and do something like that. Like having
Yes.
2 separate monitors is much better.
I feel very validated right now because that was a huge hang up for me. I'm like, I don't know if I'm just being picky or like I don't like change or anything, but I just don't think I could go to a single widescreen, even if it was a single widescreen and then the
See, that's
vertical
what Devin was
orientation
saying. He's
side.
like, you do the
Yeah.
single and then you. But here's the other thing: I would play games on the ultra wide, right?
Yeah.
And they would be letterbox and stuff. Like not every
Yeah.
game is set to fit for that, and I would try to make it
yeah.
work like Far Cry did, but it looked a little blurry.
Like letterboxes still, or even or like pillars, like
No,
verticals.
verticals on the right and left.
Right, because it wouldn't extend all the way. Yeah.
But like Far Cry would extend the whole way, but it kind of looks stretched.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I saw somebody set up, they had three identical monitors and they were playing Stardew Valley on it. I'm like, that looks awesome, dude. I thought it looked amazing. And I've been going on, and Dev, anytime he listens to, I'm sure anytime I talk about like anything tech, it'll either totally contradict or just upset him about some of the things I've been talking to him
Or
about.
I was even thinking like, would it help me with the laptop if I got small 4K monitors?
Yeah.
Like 23-inch monitors. Like the laptop push that, or is it just 4K is just too much? Just
I think 4K is just 4K. I don't
yeah,
think it matters.
It doesn't matter like how big it is.
It's just pixel density at that point.
So then,
Yeah.
but then, like, would a 23 or 4-inch 1440p look excellent?
And probably super affordable. That's probably the sweet spot.
So I'm kind of in my space now. It's like if I really get into it and I really like it, do I go that way? Because I don't want to get rid of my desktop, but like there is something to kind of sizing this area down and just getting a nice little dock with the laptop, and then maybe like repurposing my desktop like upstairs somewhere. You know,
I set my dad up with a laptop sort of like docking situation, and I'm often jealous whenever I go over there. It's just so slick. Storage is the biggest thing. Is that you'll have to like no laptop is ever going to come with enough storage that you'll need. So
I bought a 2 terabyte external SSD to run all my games.
2 terabyte SSD? Did you really?
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just
gonna
nice.
put all my games on it. Every Steam thing will download to it. I'm gonna put all my ROMs and everything. It's like this is my little gaming hookup. When I game, I'll plug it in. When I don't, it's be all about business.
Did it come with an NVMe like already?
It has
Like
internal
Yeah.
has like 1 terabyte internal.
That's nice, man. Yeah, 1 terabyte. I think that's what I got. Like I've got just so many hard drives in this.
When you look
in my
at
PC.
people like with the external stuff, like there's lots of YouTube videos of people doing tests, and I actually ran into this on my Xbox. I think we talked about this at the Xbox launch. I have an external SATA SSD that the Series X basically just thinks is one of the proprietary drives you plug
That's
in.
crazy.
Everything runs X Enhance on. Like there's no difference between the two.
Yeah.
And it was
That's
like
crazy.
half as much. But like when you watch people, I think as long as you go through a 3.1 USB port, the loading differences between an NVMe and an external SSD over 3.1 is like 2 seconds.
Sure. Yeah.
It's basically minimal.
It's getting to the again kind of final form. Like,
And
how
if
do
you
get
go
any
through like
faster than this?
USB-C, then it's negligible. It's milliseconds.
Right.
They're basically the same thing.
So then it's just a matter of like keeping your desk clean.
Yeah.
Trying to keep all those externals kind of like looking nice, and there's probably a way to stack them that looks decent enough.
Well, for the laptop, I'll just have the one. But like on the Xbox, I have them all in the bin underneath. Nobody sees them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm not streaming these days, and I still have the Series S. And I'm like, I don't know if that is pretty much specifically used for streaming.
Patron giveaway.
Possibly. Who knows? Extra life, something.
I love my little S when we had it for.
So do
for
I.
a while. My son just wasn't using it, but it is a great little console.
Yeah, they're starting to show up in stores. I'm seeing. It's like all of a sudden, nobody's really coordinating this, but it seemed like I think Skinny Matt took a picture of it, and I think it's a couple other people seeing like in the wild.
Oh,
like,
that's
stocked
cool.
up
That's
in
good.
stores and stuff. Yeah, could be the don't do it, says Dano. I'm not gonna get rid of it.
Get one of those little screens, Sean, that clip onto it, and you lift it up. It'd be like
it does look cool.
Be like your little portable laptop.
It does look pretty. Can you imagine? It's like everybody else on the plane. They're
You
doing
still
the
need
switch
a
life.
power adapter.
I know.
Like that's the thing about it. It's like that doesn't make really any sense, but
I know.
sure.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be a great like little setup, I guess, like in a kid's room that maybe doesn't have a TV.
Yeah,
Maybe?
that's true. Yeah.
Kind of like if you're a PC gamer,
it's
like
so
you have a desk,
specific.
you could just set it on the desk. But like at that point, just get a laptop. Yeah, I don't know. That's a strange one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just every now I look at it, I'm like, that really is the only time that I'm using that thing. Is
I meant like Dano. I meant like you still need the power of the console.
the console needs. Yeah, it says it runs off
Console
power of USB.
Still needs power.
Yeah, you just need one for both the things.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't play it on the bus. Is more or less what I was saying.
You like take it over to a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Get the table with the power outlet
Like,
underneath
crack a generator.
it. Yeah. Well, let's stay in touch about this whole like monitor situation because I'm looking like I should just be perfectly fine with everything that I have. Everything in front of me is like totally works. It looks great. Like I'm really happy with it. But then I see a picture of this lady playing Stardew Valley with 3 monitors. I'm like, I want that.
Nice.
Like, what is? I don't know.
Nice.
It's not a fear of missing out, but it's like, yeah, it could be better. And
That's that PC
devs monitors
life,
are
man.
identical.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah.
My monitors are identical. I told you
That's,
that. You talked about that in Game Tech. Sean,
Mhm.
I specifically, when I bought this one Acer monitor 6-7 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I really like it. It's a great monitor to play Switch games on it. I've talked about this on Shaq before. This 1080p glossy monitor makes Switch games look amazing.
Yeah.
Like they look so good. But I like this one monitor so much that I actually went to eBay and found a used so I could get another one that matched.
Did you really?
Because I had 2 mismatching ones and like the bezels
Right.
didn't line up and it drove me insane.
That's kind of where I'm at. And now that you say that out loud, I'm like, I don't
could
feel
not-
so crazy.
Yeah, no, like that is a rule for me. When I get 2 monitors, I will buy 2 monitors. They will be the exact same monitor. Like I can't live with that sort of that lack of symmetry in my life. That's a no-no.
That's our TVs. That's our TVs, and that's why
And
the
your
nano
TV
cell
setup looks great.
That's why, yeah. And, like I've been when I set this up, I've got a 32-inch and a 27, and one is curved. Even like there's no symmetry at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even as soon as I set up, I'm like, oh, that's not the same.
So the
I
thing with
just don't know about this.
The thing with the laptop and the Steam Deck thing is honestly it's portable Game Pass.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
if I'm gonna play a game and like on certain games, not everything, but on certain games, would I play like on a portable screen or a laptop or
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Versus my 4K TV. Not Gears though. Like Gears isn't that, but like maybe Death's Door or Ori or something like that. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would.
Yeah.
You know, like I would, especially like here's the
Great
thing:
examples.
if my laptop is gonna, I don't think it will often, but if my laptop's gonna outperform the Series X, yeah,
That's really the space that I'm in right now. Is like you kind of, and you did like you really well. You got a good deal on yours, $1,000. It's a good deal. But like I'm in this space now where I'm gonna have to really pony up to get my PC ahead of where my Series X can go. Right
that's
now.
the thing.
Like,
I asked Dev, they came out with those cool looking cases, like the Valhalla case, the Fallout case, and I was like, that is cool. Like, can I get a case like that? Dev started running me through the hoops of what I was like, dude, F that noise. He's just like $3,000.
Yeah.
Just like, why? Who's doing this? I'm not a part
There's
of
no
that.
way.
It's like this whole car culture-esque thing with PCs that, I can't get into.
There's a time for it.
too rich
There
for
will
my
be a
blood.
time. There will be a time where it'll make sense, and it's what happened to me in the last generation. Like there was a time where I'm like, the One X is kind of falling behind. I threw a 1070 Ti in my PC and upgraded the CPU, and it's like this thing runs way better. I refuse to play The Division and Destiny and well, that's probably it really on Xbox. Like I had it on my PC. That was the spot I lived, and now Xbox kind of, and if you have a PS5, it's the same over there.
Especially
It's just-
somebody like you, when you were streaming, you were playing with so many different people, and PC crossplays so often, whereas
Yeah.
Xbox might not. For like those multiplayer games, made a ton of sense. And as you did mention, like we take advantage of all these incredible deals.
Yeah.
I don't play PC games, and I have 250 Steam games
Yeah.
just because.
Maybe I'm still waiting. Like we both have the same chair, and what you told me before, this autonomous chair, like it's fine, but it's not like I don't want to be in it all the time.
It wasn't.
I'm still waiting for some sort of magical chair.
So the thing with my Chromebook and
PC.
work, because everybody was like, well, you're not going to work. Like, what do you need a laptop for? But like, here's the thing, like this chair and this thing, like sometimes I would grab my Chromebook and I would go recline in my recliner, or
Yeah.
like just go sit in my bed or go sit on the couch
Yeah.
and work, or go to Starbucks and work. Like you can't do that here. So
Yeah.
it's like, I got to have a laptop.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, well, if I'm going to spend this much, I might as well get something really good. And then, I found the deal. Like if it was truly going to cost me $1,500, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But when I got the $1,500 thing for around $1,000, I was like, it's probably money.
I would have pulled the trigger too. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But I was really upset that my Chromebook blew up. Like I love that Chromebook, and it was
You can't even do anything with it at this
fairly new. Like that,
Yeah.
it was. I
Yeah,
bought it
remember you just bought
refurbed.
it.
I bought it refurbed, which I normally always do. I've bought refurbished Chromebooks
Same.
from Acer
Yep.
forever, and I've never had an issue. And this one is out of warranty, and it just stopped working.
Ah,
I'm sure
You
if
know,
I
at that
started
point, it's
pulling
just-
plugs,
I'll do the same.
I could replace and get it back.
Sure.
I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
But-
But we were just talking about like trying to take some of these super compact devices
I did.
apart.
I took it apart because the thing was, I would plug it in and no juice. So I was like, battery's got to be dead. But I took the battery out and plugged it in, still nothing. And that's the
Yeah.
concerning part, because that means it's not the battery. Or if it isn't the battery, then it's also something else. And it's like,
Right.
who knows where that leads? Is
Yeah.
there like a
Yeah.
transistor on the board or something that's bad? Like, who knows
You
how?
check the alternator. I have no
Because
idea.
if you remove the battery from any Chromebook, you should be able to bypass if you plug it in. You just run off
Right.
of direct current. Like, it's just dead. Like,
Yeah.
nothing. No lights come on, nothing.
That was
What
one of
the
my
hell
last
happened?
ones. Yeah. Had to rent directly plugged in.
So, yeah.
Sorry, man. Well, I'm glad you
Yeah.
got a nice shiny new piece of tech, though. That's very, very
I'll be
exciting.
more excited when I get it.
I didn't realize it hadn't arrived yet. Okay.
I think it's Tuesday.
Okay. I can't wait to see pictures, dude.
I'm
I
sure
could have
some-
ruined my birthday this week. My birthday's on Wednesday, and
Ooh,
Chelsea
happy birthday.
ordered it. Thank you.
How old are you?
Chelsea, I'll be 37. Getting up there. I'm catching up. I'm catching Dev pretty soon. Like a couple more years, I'll be just as old as Dev. I think that's how that works. And I'm wondering if you would have done this too. She said, "Don't look outside. I just saw the picture from Amazon. They said they delivered the packages, and it's like your present. Like it's just like the
Oh, you
box
can see
is
it?
the thing."
That's
Yeah.
happened to me and my kids a few times.
Would you look like? I was able
I would
to not
definitely
look. I was very tempted.
No, I would definitely look. I have
You'd say that.
I have the reputation. My whole family knows this. Like, I am the world's worst at keeping presents until the day that they're supposed to be given, or
Yeah.
like getting presents. So, like, I give my wife every present of the year she gets early, because I
Yeah.
basically just give them to her when I get them. I'm like, I'm not
That's
gonna hide
She
it.
like that?
I don't think so. Actually, I think she'd prefer. I think she'd prefer that I don't. But I'm just like, I'm not gonna hide it and jump early. It's like, just here's your present.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a thing. With
She
me.
knows what she's getting with you now. Like that's just.
I'm a very good
That's
gift
fun.
giver, so she's always happy
Makes
when
up
she
for
gets
it.
them. She does say that to me all the time.
Yeah.
She thinks that I'm very, very good at getting her gifts, and it's not always. Sometimes I do,
Yeah.
because that's the other thing is so a lot of times I'll get her 2 or 3 presents, so
Yeah.
she'll get one like 3 days early, and then the other 2
Yeah.
the actual day. That happens.
Kind of like Hanukkah.
Yeah,
Just a couple days worth.
I always give my kids
celebration.
an early Christmas present. Always.
That's cool though. Yeah.
Always. At least one. I used to
Yeah.
let them pick them, but then they got really good at picking them. So now I pick them. They'd always pick
Yeah.
like their best one.
Like which ones to open?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always
Yeah.
let them open one on New Year's Eve.
What do you guys do like for like? Do you have like a wish list, or when you say you're good at buying gifts, like do you just know what she'll want or appreciate, or is there like a list that she like? Chelsea and I just like go off each other's lists.
We do have lists. I normally don't go off. I have this weird thing with gifts that I never buy anybody gift cards. I hate that.
Yeah.
But I often like, I don't know. I think I just take mental notes, like
Yeah.
of my
Yeah.
wife and things that she's thinking about or things like that. Sometimes I do. Like, she really wanted this really, really nice purse that she picked out, and I bought her that exact purse. But
Yeah.
a lot of times I will just either find things that I think she'll like or get some things. Like one year for my daughter's birthday, I just like gave her like a bedroom glow up. Like, for her birthday, she got
Nice.
like a lot of like wall decals, and we got a lot of shelves and a lot of cutesy stuff. And she was just like, "Dad, I didn't think you could pick out girls like a room decor."
That a boy. That's awesome.
I had help.
Nailed
like,
it.
I went to
Still.
Rebecca and Elaine and was like, "I have this idea. Help me."
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just me. But like, even
Yeah.
for like her dad and stuff like that, I try to get stuff out of like her dad's he's a hunter and outdoorsman and stuff, like, so like for his birthday, his big birthday, his 50th birthday, I bought him a survival gun. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen one of those?
No.
It's like a little pack. It's like this big, like this little tube, and you can
Mm-hmm.
just like put it in your bag, and then like you pull out the tube, and everything connects together to like
Oh, look
basically
at that.
make like a little rifle. And
Oh, that's cool.
He's been talking about that gift for like 4 years. He tells all of his friends,
Man.
like, I bought him the best gift.
You
ever.
just retire from gift giving at that
Well,
point.
it's hard.
Like,
Yeah, it's
you're
hard to
done.
live up
Yeah.
to that, right? But yeah, like like I just try to find cool stuff in people's interests. It's not
That's
always a
nice,
hit. I don't
yeah.
always hit, but
Yeah.
I try to.
You try.
I try to take that into account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have ruined it, man. Could have. And I'm very curious.
I definitely
like,
would have.
what's coming, but
It's good that
And-
she
and-
caught you, because I would have been like, "What's this?" I would have sent pictures like, "Who's this for?"
oh, it would have been because we send each other just lists. Like these are the things I would like, please. And this is like the link where you're gonna get the best
Let me ask you
price.
this, because I have this argument with every Christmas with my family, because I feel like
Mm.
that takes some of the fun out of it.
It's not as because I used to buy gifts like you. Like I really used to go for it. And when Chelsea and I kind of first got together, we just kind of it was an adjustment at first, but like now it's just like it's just nice, you know. Like she kind of the other thing too that I
So my
I don't-
father-in-law hates it. because he's always telling
Yeah,
me, he's like,
my
just,
family hates it too.
he's like, just
My
give
family
me a
hates it
gift
too.
card. I'm like, that sucks.
If
That's
it
just
if
an
it
exchange
devolves
of
to
my
that,
money to you.
yeah. If that's all it ends up being, that's totally, yeah. That's still another step away. But I still like getting gift cards. Like I really like would appreciate somebody going like they got me a gift card. I wouldn't be mad about it at all.
No, of course you'd be mad about any present. I get you there.
No,
But
no.
I would appreciate more if somebody like instead of giving me a GameStop gift card, if you bought me a game at GameStop that you thought I'd like,
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
more into that. It would just be more. I don't know. I think I'd be a little bit more appreciative.
Mhm.
I think it's weird when you receive a gift card because like you're like, thank you, this is great, but like, it's just money.
Yeah.
Like you're
Well,
just holding
for
money.
me, I was asking for gift cards specifically for the Series X. Like I was stashing them away.
Yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
that was part of
Yeah,
the
that
plan.
makes
And
sense.
they knew that you couldn't ask for Series X for Christmas. Like nobody I know is gonna give me that.
My family, they love doing it the way like every year I put my stuff on the wish list and they knock out my whole wish list. It's incredible. Like when I had
Yeah.
the wish list for the house party, they bought me
Yeah.
everything that I wanted for the house party.
Right.
They were like so into it. You know? So like
Mm-hmm.
it's good when you get stuff that you like too. Versus, but here's the thing: like I've never gotten gifts that were awful. I don't think.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
I guess that's a part of it. Like I guess if you've
My,
gotten like some really bad gifts, I think maybe
Yeah.
you'd be more into the list stuff.
We got bed sheets one time. It's just like, what do you buy me bed sheets
Are they
for?
nice bed sheets though? 'Cause
No, they were
really nice
not.
bed sheets are like expensive.
No, I know. And they weren't. They were just bed sheets. Like, as if like
just regular sheets.
we needed the help or something. I'm not really sure what it was about. And we did the cardinal sin of like we asked for the gift receipt and if we could just maybe exchange that for something else. Yeah, and that was
That's
not
harsh.
that was not good. That was not. And this is it. Like this is
You just got to
different
eat at that
families.
point. You just got to keep the bed sheets. You can't
See,
ask
and that's
for the
that's where I
receipt.
come from. That's where my family is, and I have kind of like separated from that, and it's really awkward to go like it's better this way. I've grown up like that. I know the sentiment of like, especially the way we grew up is like just be grateful for what you get and for what you're
course.
having. But
I mean, they're
like,
bed sheets. Everybody needs bed sheets. It's not like the
didn't need
worst
these
thing
bed
in the
sheets.
world.
We didn't like, like they weren't the good. Anyway, they couldn't use them. Another example of this, which I think
they
maybe
beneath
drives the
you?
whole. No, like I don't know what kind of bed sheets we have. We just didn't need these.
I would
these bed
explore
sheets.
this a little bit.
I want to go to go to my brother who lives in Vancouver, and I can't remember if it was my sister and brother teamed up for this or if it was my parents. They got him a dishwasher that couldn't fit in his house.
Oh yeah, that's a no go. If you're gonna go that far, you've got to measure. You have to go
Right.
find a way to measure.
Got him got him the wrong thing, and then like it was a big deal when he wanted to like take it back or exchange it
course.
for something else. Like that was I like, and I should.
Did
Like,
you
this
do
is one thing
that?
for me. So
You
I wanna-
bought the
I wanna-
dishwasher.
No, it wasn't me. It was for like
somebody else.
my parents bought it for.
Yeah, they got to
my
measure.
brother.
They got to measure.
And they yes, yeah.
So like a couple
That was
years ago,
one-
I bought Melissa a brand new wedding ring, and I went through like this whole thing about trying to get her ring off her hand so I could size it.
Yeah.
It was like a huge ordeal for me to try and get her ring away from her without
Yeah.
her catching on. You know, like sometimes I also think that's a part of the fun too. Like if you've got to get a gift like that, and like you got to be the covertness about it.
Yeah.
It's a part of it.
Yeah. There's the greatest thing is that there's still room for that, especially if the expectation is here's a list of like 50 things, like go have fun. And then you can still kind of sneak something in there.
Sure, yeah.
But like with my family, like my parents got me a jacket one time that was like a size too big. And rather than ask them for the gift receipt or to try and take it back or anything, like I tailored it myself.
Okay.
And I spent as much as the thing cost, which is stupid. I should just be able to ask them for the gift receipt and get a smaller size for God's sakes. But like, it's such a
I guess when I think about
hardwired-
this, all right, this is a totally extremist way of looking at it, but in my head, I guess this is where I land on it. If you go to like Christmas with, your nearby family, if
Mm-hmm.
every one of your presents is something that was on your wish list that you already knew you were getting it, like, is it as much fun?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. This is the E3 thing. Like for you, like if it's, if you know the games that are going to be announced and then they get announced and
Sure.
you're still like, yeah.
So seeing is believing. It's better than knowing it's going to
Yeah.
get there. Okay.
Yeah. And also I don't know. And also there's so many things I just like pile up on there.
So
It's just like,
I do
don't
agree with
really
you.
know.
I do agree with you. I don't disagree with you because my family, they'll grab 2 or 3 things from my wish list and then they'll sprinkle in some other stuff of their own.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is really nice.
Yeah. Totally. That's
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's it. And it was, Chelsea's mom is actually the one who sort of like converted me over to this. Like she's just like, she'll put the receipt in it. Like she doesn't care if she
Yeah,
thinks you're
that
gonna want it or
happens.
not. Like this is just the
That's a
receipt,
thing.
and
Yeah.
she just wants you to have whatever you want to have. Like
Sure.
that's the thought.
Well,
Which
then at
I
this
think
point,
is,
we'll just send everybody like PayPal direct payments. It's like,
yeah.
some money, go knock
But
yourself out.
the thing is that like it's wrapped up in so much other like love and care
I'm being
and also
contrarian for
I know, of course you are.
discussion
No, but
six.
and I'm glad you are because you're the other that's like new me on this side of the shoulder and like old me like where I grew up from is on the other side, and like with somehow I'm getting exactly what's on
Like,
my list, and usually it's Chelsea who like
because
coordinates
I
all
agree
of this
with you,
stuff.
and like I said, we do the lists. So sometimes, like if I have no ideas, then I'll buy something off
Yeah.
the list. But like one year, I took my father-in-law took us out on his boat a couple years ago, or not his boat. He had rented a boat, and he wanted to listen to music, but his cell phone speakers sucked so bad. And I remember
Oh,
and this
yeah.
was like in the middle of like May. I remember
Yeah,
it
that's
all the
a
way to
good move.
Christmas, and then I bought him the very best Bluetooth speaker that I could find.
That's a good move.
Like the
Yeah.
Rolls Royce of Bluetooth speakers. And when he opened it, he was like, "Why do I need this?" I was like, "Well, you remember like you were on the boat, and you said you wanted
Yeah.
some music, and you could." And he was like, "You remember that?" But like that's a
Yeah.
lot of like I will always kind of file things like that away
Yeah.
for presents.
There is no argument against that. You know what I mean? Like there's absolutely nothing that I can say that will ever make like that not sound as good. Like that's the best. That's the pinnacle. The thing is that most people aren't that.
Of course,
Most
and I
most
don't.
people
And
can't.
look, I'm not. I don't always do it. I definitely do not always do it. Like we do lists. We do
Yeah.
lists. My kids have lists. Like we do lists. But
Yeah.
I'm always kind of on the lookout for. But here's the other thing that I do that I don't think most people do. I will buy I will buy presents year round. Like if
Yeah.
somebody, like if my kids are like, "Hey, I want something," I'll just go ahead and buy it and stash it.
Yeah.
Like I'll just grab it and just hide it. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, that's
I-
what we do.
I have
Oh,
that.
definitely.
I got 5 or 6 things upstairs for Jack. that you don't
Oh,
even know
definitely.
about.
Same here. Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing too is whether it's gifts or just generally, my mother-in-law, I could speak the world about her, man. Like she treats us very, very well. She really cares for us every day. So birthdays, it's like, or Christmas or whatever, it's like there's also, she makes the dinners and everything is very, very special on that front. But like, even if she just kind of gave me a card on my birthday and just went like, happy birthday, I'd be like, I have a huge amount of appreciation for her because she's just so awesome to us.
sure.
So it's not like,
Birthdays, I completely because I don't even really celebrate my birthday anymore. So
right. Yeah.
I'm honestly
It's
almost exclusively thinking about Christmas at this point.
Well, we grew up Catholic, right? But we would go to church on Christmas only. And I always felt like that was kind of,
Yeah, you went to midnight
like,
mass.
I don't think that we're really doing this right.
You went to midnight
Like
mass.
that. Yeah, but is that being a Catholic?
My
Is that
mother-in-law
being,
has hated me forever because I never go.
yeah,
I'm just a staunch defender. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. This is
just
nuts.
the one time a year?
it's
Like, is
crazy.
that- yeah,
I,
that-
I ridicule them for their faith every year. It's like
because they only go the one
y'all
time.
are not. No. She doesn't go often. They go like on holidays. They go Easter and stuff like that. But the midnight mass, like I remember the first time I was staying over at their house, like with Melissa, and they were like, "Yeah, we go to church at like 1 a.m." I was,
Yeah,
that sounds awful. And it was because they wake up and everybody's like dead tired and they're all
Yeah.
cranky. And I'm like, why are you doing this to yourselves? Because
my
that's the other thing.
point is, it's not necessarily the midnight mass itself. It's you're going once per year, and relating
I
it to
gotcha.
gift giving is if you're going to make that the one time that you're being special to me, then like I actually would rather like don't, and let's just have a normal kind of like caring relationship throughout our lives instead of like I did Valentine's Day really good, didn't I? It's like
Sure.
it doesn't equate to me like, and that's why I relate it to the midnight mass thing is
Sure.
why don't you go all the time, or are you praying like all the things? I don't know what it means to really be a good
If you're going to do
religious
it,
person.
commit, damn it.
It's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel says the Lord demands
The
it.
Lord demands it.
I think he demands at least
Well,
that.
it's so funny because my mother-in-law is very similar to you. She's extremely caring woman.
Yeah.
Showers everybody with love, but she's also like the type of person that like organizes everything for everybody.
Yep.
So like she'd go to midnight mass and then wake everybody up at 6 a.m. because she's got like an itinerary. Like breakfast is gonna be done by 8. And it's
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
this is terrible.
Yeah.
So she hates me because I'm like the opposite. I'm like, we'll wake up whenever we want to. It'll be there. Like, who
Yeah.
needs an alarm clock? Like, I'm just kind of more the, Lebowski. Like, let's just let it happen.
His bathrobe.
Yeah, like she hates that.
Sandals.
She hates it about me. It's probably
Yeah.
the biggest thing because we just
That-
very much oppose that way.
that's the core of all of like family kind of conflict, especially when it
Dynamic.
comes to, yeah, it's just everybody does everything differently.
Yeah.
Everybody values it a little bit differently as well. Like Chelsea and I go, okay, even when we were dating, Christmas Day, we were just with each other's families. Like I wasn't with her on Christmas Day, she wasn't with me. It was just like we're just staying put, which meant that on the day before, then both of us were with somebody, or the day after we were with the other family. It was
Sure.
just nice. But like that's not for everybody. And but for us, it just kind of made sense.
I mean,
When you feel
when
like
you
you've
were
landed
saying
on
it and you were
something,
talking to me, I was like, that sounds awful.
see, but when you do it, and it, like for in our eyes, we're like, why would you do it any other way? Like the whole
Sure.
like when we're at our parents' house and we watch like my sister like go, okay, we got here at 10 o'clock, we've got until 1 o'clock.
See, that's
okay,
the
1
math
o'clock's
that
here.
I hate doing. I don't do that.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm,
what I mean. Like that's
I'm
when we
the
got rid of that.
opposite. So my family, well, I only really have the one side of the family now, but we used to do the same thing, or not used to, but our families used to want us to do the same thing that you're talking
Yeah.
about. And I was always opposed to my family. I'm like, look, it's Christmas. I'm going to spend my family at home with my family.
Yep,
And we'll
Yep,
see
that's where
you
we're at now.
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
You know, like, but my mother-in-law hates it. She wants everybody to be in the same place. And I'm like, that sounds
Yeah.
awful.
But
All
guess what?
30
Like,
of us like, piled on top of each other? That sounds terrible.
we end up having like 4 or 5 Christmases, which is awesome because we just dedicate the whole day to like whatever household we're in.
Sure.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you
I
really
can
just
see
get
that.
to, yeah, you get to open gifts together, you get to exchange gifts together and spend the whole thing. You're not worrying about anything. You're just chilled the whole time
Yeah.
for a week.
Yeah. That sounds great.
So that's what I mean. Like it's kind of like, okay, let's just all do that. Magic wand. Remember that, everybody, and whatever. We're actually the 25th today. I'm now getting messages. I probably should go upstairs at some point.
Yeah, we can go. Oh, God. We've been going for a while.
Look at that.
Yeah, I didn't even
Thanks
realize
for
we were
Ryan
going
and
that long.
me neither. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, let's bounce.
Let's get out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.